Hello, Peter. Nice to see you. I saw you added me on LinkedIn. Was it a recent profile? I'm just trying to find a thumbnail at the moment. Because at the moment I think it's Ichan. What's a good thumbnail? Uh, do I have any pictures of myself? I'll just take a photo of this, I think. Thank you guys. Yeah, Rando, thanks for congratulating me. It is getting mighty close to 2K, which is very exciting. I have the comments on my phone, so I'm like running this by myself, so it's a little hard. I have multiple things to arrange. Brendan, hello, and yes, some English language content finally, and just me this time. Yeah, we'll get started at 8:30. I think if you have any questions in the meantime, pop them in the chat or anything you just want to talk about. You guys are for school wise, you're probably reaching sort of the end of your school, so it's pretty exciting, I think. I don't really have a photo, do I? Hello, welcome. We'll be going through English language today, and it is exam 2018. So if you're studying English language, feel free to get that up on your computer as well. I will have it up on my computer, but maybe easier. I'm just trying to find a suitable thumbnail at the moment. Alright, I think this should do. Hello, welcome. How am I feeling for Clin Skills and Med Exam? I think Clin Skills will be relatively chill because we're allowed to have notes. Med Exams I'm not so prepared for because a lot of VC is happening before then, and I'm tutoring a lot of people at the moment. But especially in that week afterwards, I will be trying my best to revise for the exams. How are you feeling for all that, Brendan? Hello, Alpha. I don't know why Kevin's message got held for review. I think it's fine. Wow, he's alone today. Yeah, it's just me. English language. So I'm more than happy to take it. All right, let me change my. Cool. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. How many people do we have? We have 16. Might wait a couple more minutes. How you guys going? Anything interesting happen? School, exams, GAT, anything? I'd be happy to hear. Exams in 2 weeks. I know. I think it's less than 2 weeks, honestly, now. Uh, yeah. What exams do you have, Alpha? And which ones are you most nervous for or most excited for? Brendan, exams. Yeah, definitely first couple weeks. So what I did was I actually did Anki to revise the first couple weeks. It was just the way it worked because I made those cards first. The deck I used made those cards first, and so I'm revising those. So I'm pretty decent with those, but I'm not really up to date with current lectures. So it's kind of a weird system. How are you finding cardiovascular and ECGs and all that? Cube tonics, Chinese oral. Good luck. Good luck for the Chinese oral. It's a very big step, I'd say. Chinese oral was intense. Are you SL or SLA? Switching from English to Lit next year. Okay, what's the reason behind that change? Aludus, hello. Brendan's my friend from medicine. Most excited for Chem and least for methods. Is Chem one of your last exams? I remember for me, Chem was my last exam. Since I didn't do a language. No, I did Latin. I didn't do like a modern language in year 12. Mark, hello. Aludus. Nagasaki, hello. All right, I think we'll get started then. And Alan, hello. Lots of you guys. Chinese SL, same as me. How are you feeling for that oral? Yeah, feel free to interact with me and all that. But yeah, I agree, Brendan. It's I want to do some more practice with ECGs. I quite like it because it's it's what you see in TV shows and stuff. But it is a bit hard. So TP, telling which one's which. Which subject do you enjoy the most so far in med? Lucia, hello. Long time. I don't think I called you in the last live, but I do remember you in past ones. Lit, start of the year, we had to change because we didn't have enough people. You loved literature. That's excellent to hear that they're bringing it back in year 12. I wish you the best of luck for that. All right, I will get started then. So, firstly, English language. Let's take a look at the exam. I think it's quite important. So, the way the English language exam is set, as you can sort of see on your screens right now, is that you have your short answer questions at the start. Okay, you have your short answer questions at the start. Then you have your essay, stimulus, and your topics. Right. Next, you have your essay, writing paper, and then you have your sort of short answer and AC sections. So I do recommend you guys print out this paper and sort of do your work on that in terms of ACs and essays. Just print out it doesn't matter what exam because the paper's all the same. Just print out 10 pages or whatever and just use them because I think it's really useful for you to gauge how much you roughly write. Now, in reading time, I'll briefly go through what I do. All right, Mara's a little hard to use. All right, cool. So in reading time, what I would do is I would go to this is easier. Yeah, I'll use this. So in reading time, what I do is I go through the short answer. I have a brief read of the text here. So this is 2018, by the way. And I also read the questions just to have a gauge of them. So these questions here, I'll literally tell you what I think. So I actually did this exam as a practice. So when I read these questions, register of the text, pretty standard. Use of verbs in the present tense. This is an interesting question. Right? It's a little interesting. So I would need to have a think about this one. Language features that reflect identity. Normally, identity questions are quite straightforward because it's quite diverse, and we'll get to that when I start doing the questions. And in question 4, 2 features that resemble spoken language. This is, again, an interesting question. Hopefully, as I read the text, I will be able to sort of see what it means, because it's a pretty unique question. Question 5, discourse features that contribute to coherence. Now, we'll be going through coherence when I get to this question. This is like a classic one. I wouldn't be surprised if they ask it this year, because kids often get this wrong. And also, this is like one of those things like the patternings that it's often easy to get confused with. And you need to be able to recall what meta-language is under coherence. And that's really important as well. So in reading time, I go through the short answer, read it, sort of just have an awareness of the difficulty of it. Not too much thinking about what I need to do. Next, I would look at the short answer. Whoops. Okay. Next, I would look at the short answer questions. So where were they? Oh, not short answer questions, my bad. I'll look at the short answer, text. So I'd literally be reading this text. Where is it? Here. Cool. Yeah, I'd read this text and just have a gist of it. So I'm like to myself, okay, this is informal written. That's what I kind of mean by getting the gist of it. You can read it through if you'd like, but nothing too important there. Next, I look at the essay topics. So within the first 5 minutes of reading time, I'm trying to get all this done. I look at the essay topics. So let's have a look at the essay topics here. And I'll let you know what I think. This is the first essay topic. Use of Australian English must always negotiate positive and negative face needs in order to communicate successfully in the contemporary Australian context. For me, this is quite a good topic. Face needs is relatable to a lot of the paragraphs that I have prepared, which is quite nice. So it's a good topic. I'd be happy with this. Next topic, in contemporary Australian society, freedom of speech is sometimes considered to be freedom to say or write anything. This would be a little more confusing to me, because I haven't really thought about freedom of speech, and I'd probably need to refer to the stimulus to get a better idea of this. And as I read stimulus, this one, right, I think of PC language. And I think, okay, so things that are similar to PC, and that gets my brain going. So what's similar to PC? And I think about that. And finally, our last question is language use can reveal the underlying attitudes of dominant groups to a range of identities and cultures in the contemporary Australian context. So for me, this is a pretty classic example of an identity question. It's a very broad, quite easy. I don't think this would be too hard. This would be like a very, very easy one. And we'll plan these together and when we get to them. All right, so reading time, just to recap, 5 minutes. In those 5 minutes, look at the essay topics because everyone's curious. Then read the short answer questions and read the short answer text. And also rip out the back of the pages. So rip out the short answer and the AC. So it's not, I'm pretty sure you're allowed to do that, yeah. All right, next what I would do is look at the AC. It's at the end, whoops. So we have the AC here, right? And I would read the AC and do all the usual things I would do in reading time. So what do I do in reading time for the ACs? I write the intro in my head, but that's usually at the end, and I sort of get a gist of the whole piece. So I read it, blah, 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 blah. You guys can have a read by yourself, and we'll sort of go through this as I show you my AC that I wrote last year on this. But essentially, this is formal, and this is spoken. And I've told my students this when we went through this exam, but I would absolutely love this piece. If I got this in my actual exam, I would have smashed it. Because it is an easy piece in terms of there's so much language to analyze, and the prosodics tie in so nicely to what you want to prove and what you want to talk about. So it's an excellent piece to have. Next, I'll write my intro in my head. So I think about the cramps. For you guys might have different acronyms. For me, it was cramps, CRAMPS. C, context. So the context would be, a speech, government house. You sort of just rephrase this. Register, formal, definitely formal. Audience would be the people present. Usually for speeches, it's the immediate people present. Who here, I'm pretty sure you'd have to read a bit of it, but it's these people who are about to undergo the citizenship ceremony. Mode, spoken. Easy way to tell, like if it has a key here, then it's obviously spoken. Purpose, function, meaning function. If you've read this, the function is sort of to welcome them and to inform them about what Australia is about, what kind of country Australia is, and also to inform them about like what they will do, about more information about the ceremony. And the social purpose, right? Do you guys want to try putting the social purpose in the chat? I'll be curious to see what you think. So have a read of this, either in your own document or here. But do let me know what you think. I'll wait a little bit of time. I don't really care if you get it wrong. Like no one, you're anonymous even on YouTube. But just have a guess at what the social purpose is here. In the meantime, I'll answer some of your questions. But please drop the social purpose, what you think is the social purpose of this text, reading the context and the piece in the chat if you have any ideas. Cube tonics, kind of nervous, still doing research for the discussion. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, honestly, research never finishes. But I would advise you when it gets close not to stress about the little stuff. You probably know the bulk of the questions, like what does this picture represent? And so you know you can speak well on those. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. How did I catch up on inlaying? Since I didn't do 1-2. What I did in English language was I learned the meta language in the holidays, like the couple of weeks before year 12. So I started inlaying actually pretty late in terms of the fact that it wasn't even like end of year 11 holidays, start of year 11, like start of year 11 summer holidays that I wanted to do inlaying. It was basically just before school started that I wanted to study inlaying. And also 1-2 is not that relevant to 3-4, so I wouldn't be too concerned. There wasn't much to like catch up on. Darren, you should start a Discord or something. I don't think so. I'll consider it. Are there any reasons in particular? Darren, have I watched Squid Game? I watched the first 2 episodes, then I kind of got bored and I just read about what happened. Noir, best way to study inlaying. We'll get to that. Firstly, I'd like to address Tryhard's comment, illicit pride amongst Australians. That's a very good idea. Thank you for putting it into the chat. I'd really like to have other people to put stuff into the chat as well. Excellent, excellent, good. I'd like to see a couple more. But essentially, Tryhard and Rando, thank you guys very much. Illicit pride amongst Australians, build rapport. I don't think those two quite capture exactly what's happening here. If you really read the language that he uses, and remember, what I say is the way you figure out if something is a social purpose is if you have enough to write about it. If you have evidence that supports it, then it works, right? So if we think about eliciting pride amongst Australians, a little small problem here is that they're not really addressing Australians, right? They're addressing these people who are about to be Australian citizens. So the general Australians wouldn't really be the primary audience here. And usually social purpose applies to the primary audience. As for Rando, build rapport is a fine answer. I would say it's like a bit of a generic answer. You would want to give more detail if you say it in general. And I do agree to a certain extent he's trying to build rapport, but it's also not the biggest social purpose here. Anyone else got any ideas? Or you guys can have another go at what you think. I'll read a couple sentences out and you sort of tell me what you think. Yeah. And you will become part of what is one of the most diverse and harmonious nations in the world. A nation of many people, many cultures, religions, and faiths. A country that is made stronger and more resilient by our differences. A nation united by respect and tolerance. What do you think this means? I'm reading these particular lines because this is evidence. This is stuff you'd use in your social purpose function paragraph. There's the promise, the reassurance, our open, free, democratic way of life. Kianan, excellent. That's basically it. Right? I'll just phrase it a bit differently. Reassure the new citizens of their choice. I guess sometimes not really a choice, right, to become Australian citizen, but like, how do I say it? It's not like a choice in the classic way of thinking, but essentially it's to present Australia in a very positive light. That's what I would argue is the social purpose. Present Australia as this lovely place where all their dreams will come true. That's the social purpose here. Welcome new Australians is more so the function, I would say. Construct an identity for Australia itself. Yeah. And the identity they're constructing is this beautiful, beautiful land that you guys are making the best choice. So yeah, thank you guys for contributing. And let's see, chopper, build in-group solidarity, reinforce the understanding of Australian values. Yeah, that's good. Just in general with you guys, sort of build rapport, build solidarity. They're good, right? You can use them, but I'd like you to be more extensive when you say it in your intro. So build solidarity between who and who, build rapport by doing what. Just a bit more detail rather than those buzzwords. All right. That's it so I'd basically think about those things in reading time and write the intro in my head, CRAMPS, literally like write it. So when writing time starts, I can just write it straight away because I find phrasing a bit hard at times. Nick Hill, acknowledge the multicultural diversity of Australia and uniting them. Yeah. All kind of same sides of the same coin. I think that's the way you say it. But yeah. So the way, once again, I would phrase it is presenting Australia as this beautiful place. That's essentially it. It's just really beefing up Australia, honestly. And also paying respect to these guys as well, like to the people coming. He really acknowledges the country they're from, and not the country they're from, he acknowledges the countries they're from, their backgrounds, and pays respect to them as well. So you can have multiple social purposes. Cool. All right, let's get into the short answer then. So I'd really advise you guys to have this text up as well because it's a bit annoying if I have to go back and forth. But it's kind of like, if I have to, I can do it. So firstly, register of this text. Let me switch to the... Brendan, why do you think I sound like your Yingling teacher? Is there like some kind of way I use my voice or like... All right, anyway. So what register do you think this is? It's pretty obviously informal, right? I would say you can get away with relatively informal, and I'm pretty sure in the exam report they said you can say relatively informal, but I think informal is fine. You don't really need to hedge it because it's pretty obviously informal. So always answer in full sentences, and you write something like, the register of the text is informal. Cool. Let's scroll down a bit. So I'm writing on my iPad and I have this text in front of me. So multitasking at its finest. Identify how the use of verbs in the present tense in lines 1 to 11 help to create the register. 2 examples of this language feature to support your response. So I'd really like to get you guys your input into this, right? Particularly if you haven't done this before. What I'm thinking here when I read this is like, okay, I don't really think of present tense as contributing to register. I don't think that's a very common use of present tense. So then you also have to think to yourself, there must be an answer, right? They wouldn't put this question in randomly. There must be some logical link I can make between present tense in lines 1 to 11, good to circle the lines, and the register. Yeah, Brendan, I guess my teacher drove that into me as well. You have a good teacher if they say that. So, okay, we look at this, and lines 1 to 11, right, is the first paragraph. So I would actually... on the paper, I would like draw the brackets next to it. So like that thing. So just to make sure I'm looking within that paragraph and I don't get sidetracked and look elsewhere. So let's look at present tense in here. I sit down, I have my notes spread. Jotted is not present tense. I've checked, not really present tense. They're nailing, okay, that's present tense. Pings. So what stands out to me about pings is the fact that it is present tense and it's also kind of informal, right? It's kind of onomatopoeic. So I think that's an excellent example. It would definitely be one of my examples. And I look down and I see scroll. And what else? He mentioned spent weeks. Spent is not. Yeah. So I think scroll and pings, probably the main ones I would go with. And I think pings in particular is quite inherently informal. And what scrolls does is not really informal. Yeah. What was it? What was I saying? Yeah, scrolls isn't inherently that informal. But yeah, so it's in spontaneous nature. Good, Marty. So you'd sort of say like it's describing things as they happen in the moment, and this sort of story-like and spontaneous nature makes them more informal. So I'll literally write that. So Joseph, the problem with yours is who've liked, right? Who have liked. Have liked is not present tense. I don't think it's present tense. Who have liked. Who've liked. Yeah, because it's like who have liked in the past. Okay, so provide 2 examples. So I would say the verb pings. Oh, whoops, I'll go back to here. What line was that? 4, 5. Crazy. creates a spontaneous atmosphere and is also on a peak and is also on a mad peak nature. Scrolls, what line is scrolls in? Scrolls. Oh, scroll, line 7. Whoops, it's just scroll. So 7, sort of, gives the sense that we are following. With, I think the guy's name is Marty. What's his name? With Marty? No, Bisset. With Bisset's actions. And so creates. More intimate and informal. A more informal atmosphere, yeah. So essentially what you do in short answer is you do EE. I've told my students this. EE stands for example. First E stands for example. Second E stands for explanation. You repeat that many times. So here I've done it. Let me change color. All right. So I do it once here, once here. You don't need to do any fancy language, anything that's too pretty. You just got to get the points. So example, pings, analysis, onomatopoeic, spontaneous, contributes to the informal register. You can also bring a bit more context in about how it's talking about the phone as well, if you'd like. Present tense scroll, right, gives the sense that we are following along with Bisset's actions as he looks at his phone. I could probably be more specific. As he looks at his phone. Yeah. And so the second part, example, analysis. Example, explanation. Done. Sometimes you need to do a bit more at the start or the end, but this is enough. Also, I would say for this one, you could probably put both of them, pings and scroll, into one sort of example. So the present tense verbs, such as pings and scroll, create a spontaneous atmosphere, because it's only worth 2 marks, honestly. But I'll just write it out so you can sort of have a look. Cool. Next, use appropriate meta language. Use appropriate meta language common on 2 language features that reflect Colin Bisset's identity. All right. So what do you guys think are some aspects of Colin Bisset's identity? Feel free to drop it in the chat. What are some aspects? I'm waiting. Just as a sort of side note, when I first started doing these identity questions, I found them quite difficult because I thought like identity, right? I need to find something really specific. I need his occupation or his work or something. But the fact is, identity can be anything. Can be Australian, can be laid back, can be friendly, can be personality traits. So it's such a wide variety. Kianan, excellent. Thank you very much. So when you look at the text, right, sort of says, also can't keep focused. Yeah, excellent. So you have his sort of topics related. Architecture, food, travel, fashion. So you just think about aspects of his identity. A person's hobby is aspects of their identity. This even tells us who he is. I think my head's covering, actually, but a writer, traveler, broadcaster, sort of behind my head. Very casual, chill personality. Excellent. Good work, guys. So 2 language features that reflect Colin Bisset's identity. I think you can even get away with saying I, like the repetition of the word I sort of reflects his identity as a blog writer. Right. What did I use? Comment on 2 language features that reflect Colin Bisset's identity. So the names of cities sort of reflects his identity as a traveler. The names of places such as China, the name of international places such as China, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So the name of cities such as, let me find it. Or you can also use the name of architects and artists. What was Michael Lucci? I'm pretty sure there were more. Um, where was it? Where was it? Michael Lucci. Pre-change for nature with the pelican part. Where's the pelican part? Oh, okay. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's not the easiest point to prove. You usually go for easier points. Writer, traveler, broadcaster. So, okay, we can just go with I. So, let's go back here. What lines do we have I in? Line 1, line 2, 1, 2, 7, 8. We'll just go with that. 1, 2, 7, 8. Reflect Bissett's identity as a blogger. Writer as he continually shares experiences from his point of view. Good. And all right, the next one we can sort of look at is, let me think. Mexico. Far out. I remember I had some good ones when I read this. Spent weeks. Florence is a new kitchen early. Okay, I guess we can use nope and ratio. Okay, the use of colloquial lexemes, such as colloquialisms. Use of colloquialisms such as nope. What lines nope in are line 15 and ratio is line 17. Reflect Bissett's, not Bissett, it is Bissett's, laid back and casual. Cool, excellent. All right, now let's look at the next question. Comment 2 features in line 17 to 26 of this text that resemble spoken language. So let's look at 17 to 26. As usual, when I do this, I would write like brackets sort of here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but essentially from 17 to 26, I would do like these kind of brackets. Let me just show you. I'll do like this from 17 to 26, especially because 26 occurs in the middle of a body paragraph. So it's quite easy to sort of forget that and sort of look outwards, and you just cop an L if you look outside those lines. But right, let's have a look at these lines. So spoken discourse, right? Just sort of when you're reading it, what do you guys think are some features that resemble spoken discourse? Hit me with some ideas. Actually, don't tell me specific ones. Don't tell me specific ones. Tell me like in general, what are some features? What are some meta language features you would see in, oh, thank you, Jar, for the $1. I didn't know you guys can do that. That's pretty cool. But thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, don't say the exact feature. Say like in general, right? What are some like meta language that you would see? For example, I'll start you guys off. You might see things like discourse particles, right? We might be looking for discourse particles here. What else would you possibly be looking for? I'll give you guys a moment to sort of put down your ideas. Laughter, good, excellent. What else? Anyone got any ideas? Repairs, false start, excellent. Thank you, Joseph, for participating. Try hard, vocal effects, yes. Vocal effects, I guess, like in written text, it would be a bit hard for them to show that. But yeah, discourse particles, good. Matthew Bannon, I wouldn't say simple sentences, Right, I wouldn't say they're inherent. There's a different type of sentence thing though. Hyperbole, not quite. No, I think hyperbole can occur anywhere. Like you read a lot of stuff that has hyperbole. Oh, thank you, Kianan, for the $8.88. Very auspicious number. Okay, Matthew, simple sentences, right? Let's have a think. Sentence types. What like sentence features would you expect to see that might reflect spoken speech? What are some sentence meta language related to sentences? I don't want to give it away. Ellipses, excellent. Fragments, excellent. You guys are, yeah, that's incredible. Excellent job. Volume with capitalization, yep. That actually happened in my SAC in year 12 when I sat it. They actually did that. They did italics, I'm pretty sure, and they did volume, and they were like, what does this represent? It was a bit of a weird SAC, but oh well. All right, so 17 to 26, you got to repeat that. So first we have the radio, right? Sort of the, what do you call it? The suffixation of right with eo sort of reflects spoken text, the vocal nature of spoken text. Other things are sort of, but I glance out of the window. Just starting things with conjunctions is quite common with speaking, right? When you talk to people, you don't think like, I want to go to school, but it's raining. You sort of just say, but it's raining, right? What else? And that the air current. And that's sort of in conjunction with ellipses, because usually when you start a conjunction, it's kind of like ellipses. But all right, we'll analyze ratio and we'll analyze ellipses here. Back to work. No, we'll analyze the conjunctions and radio. So you usually find the easiest two to analyze. Let's look at radio first. So, the suffixation of eo to right, right, suffixation of right to o to make radio. And you have any features you guys want to check with me or any ones you'd like to do, just feel free to drop in the chat. Like, I'm very happy to answer questions. The suffixation of eo to right to make rightio, it's a bit convoluted, but oh well. I have like my actual response below when I did it in time conditions in 2020. So we will look through that afterwards. The suffixation of eo to right to make radio reflects spoken discourse, Actually, I probably wouldn't write that first. Yeah, usually I like to sort of say what it does before I say why it does it. So I like saying, like explaining the link first. So the suffixation right to radio makes the lexeme sort of more, I guess, colloquial and vocal. And so reflects spoken discourse. Further, little words like this, I guess, can Bisset often begins sentences with conjunctions. Such as, let's find some examples. We have, oh, whoops, that's the answers. Such as but, 17, such as but I, and that, and aren't. And aren't, line 19, which reflects the, is reminiscent, let's use that word, is reminiscent of the flowing and continuous nature of spoken discourse. Oh, whoops, you guys can't see. Nature of conversations, and so, yeah, I don't like repeating the same words too much, of conversation. And so reflects, and so imitates the spoken language. Cool, excellent. Let's see, any questions? Are you doing the essay too, Darren? I'm not going to be writing the essay. Well, like I have an essay that I have that's really similar. Like I have This is going to be a very in-depth breakdown of the exam. I have sort of, we'll plan them together and we'll sort of talk about my essay as well. So I'm not actually going to write it because there's no point. I have like an essay that's really similar. And also I don't remember like my examples because I don't need to memorize them like you guys do. All right. Using appropriate meta language, analyze the discourse features that contribute to coherence in this text. Is this the last question? Wow, this is a really short one. Okay. Also for you guys, I'm not sure if your front cover has come out yet. I think if your front cover comes out, you kind of know how many questions is going to be in each section. All right. So question 5, coherence. You guys, your turn. List off features of coherence. Just give me one each. I don't really want one person to give me like 6, but you can just list one and then list another one, then list another one if you like. Coherence. What would you be looking for in coherence? Hit me. Would I link it to purpose? I wouldn't link it to purpose because spoken discourse is not really relevant to purpose. All I need to talk about is how it resembles spoken discourse. Like there's nothing about, nothing about what do you call it? Yeah, purpose. I hope you guys agree with me. Like there's nothing about purpose in this question. Cool. I'm getting some good ones. Information flow, we'll talk about that, try hard. Not quite. It's correct, but I wouldn't use it here. Formatting, inference, logical ordering, cohesion. Italics comes under formatting, good. There are a couple ones you guys are missing. Come on. Two more you guys are missing. Couldn't you say resembles to create a conversational tone that befits a blog? Yeah, Joseph, you can, right? But that's something you more so say in an AC. The reason for that is because it's not asking you that. You don't really need to go that extra mile. All you need to do is talk about how it reflects spoken discourse. And that's sort of it. The end of conversation. You don't really need to say like it befits a blog. I wasn't under that same impression, and I like if you get 4 marks, then what's the point of them ranking your short answer questions? Like you just get the 4 marks and you move on with your life. But yeah, thank you for who said consistency and convention. Excellent job, Gibbo, Yoshi. Yeah, thank you guys for that. So essentially, the way I remember it, you guys should come up with an acronym. KILF CC. All right. KILF CC. Look, it's the best I can do, right? Yeah, you can do flick, I guess, FLICCC, but when you have like so many C's, it's really hard to make a word. So, what does each thing represent? I like to think of the first one as cohesion. This one, inference. Logical ordering. Formatting. Consistency. Conventions. All right. Now, in these, can you see where information flow comes under? Do you guys have any ideas about where information flow, why I say information flow is like kind of correct, but I wouldn't use it here? Do you have any ideas why? So essentially, I'll just say it. Information flow comes under cohesion. So cohesion has its own set of meta language, right? One of which is information flow, and you have things like front focus, like excellent, try hard, cohesion. Semantic field is not part of coherence. If you go to the study design, have a look at coherence. It's not under coherence. It's not under cohesion either, but I've seen people use it and it works because it kind of connects ideas together, and that's what cohesion is about. Anyway, information flow, you have anaphoric referencing, etc. Cataphoric referencing. What else is there? You have conjunctions, adverbials. So I remember all this because I've been tutoring, I guess. All right. So the reason why I don't talk about information flow is because it's hard to link to coherence. It's a bit annoying, right? You say information flow can be seen in here, which supports cohesion, which supports coherence. So it's a bit of you have to do it twice, which is a bit annoying. Whereas if I just stuck with inference, logical ordering, formatting, consistency, conventions, much, much easier. Also, you guys should be pros at this because you should have a coherence paragraph in your written text, or you should be talking about coherence enough. So you should be pros at knowing what you're looking for. So once you've done ACs enough, this question should be a breeze. All right. Anaphora chiasmus. Are you an English student? Yeah, it's not really in England. And not really in English either. You might be a lit student. I don't know what antitemetabile is. I'd be interested to hear if you can tell me what that is. But anyway, let's have a look. So, check line numbers. Okay, I am free game. Anywhere in the text, I can go where I want to. All right. So, inference, right? Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Is this an example of inference? Does he do Latin? Is that why you're saying these things? Or English? I can't really tell. But yeah, tell me. Is this... Okay, you do lit. Okay. Is this an example of inference? Good. Kianan says nope. What do you guys think? And Kianan, do you want to justify your answer? Chopper Chop, you say yes. Do you want to justify your answer as well? Like, I really, really don't care if you get it right or wrong. What's important is that you guess and you learn. Yeah, see, Jacob, thanks for popping in to the language stream, even though you're doing lit. No? Okay, Tryhard says no. Do you guys want to justify it? Is Kianan changing his answer? No, because he explains after. Yeah, exactly. Be careful, right? Michaelucci is not because he tells you what it is. And also, things like Florence, like city names, I wouldn't say they are, what do you call it? They are inference. The reason for that is because most people know them, right? There are probably some people who aren't good at geography, but yeah. It was more exophoric referencing. I don't know what exophoric is. Do you want to share what it is, Kianan? But all right. So I think Blueprint for Living is an excellent example of inference because it's the name of the what do you call it? Like he contributes to that. So people who read his blog would probably know about him because he sort of works there or whatever. So that's inference done. I wouldn't find two examples from inference. I would probably find an example for the other ones. Vishay, yeah, it's 2018 exam. So go check it out, please. Apposition, I don't know what that is. Look, with these questions, you need to stick to the study design. Okay, with ACs, you can go a bit beyond. You can mention things like polysyllabic lexemes or exophoric referencing as Kianan has said. These questions, short answer, you can't. You really can't. You need to find things from the meta language that's in the VCAR study design. But Kianan, if you didn't have the explanation that it would be exophoric referencing since you would need background knowledge to understand. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just inference. That's what we call inference. In terms of like words that only a select audience would understand. And exophoric referencing isn't in the study design. So you can talk about it in your ACs, but not in your short answers. All right, so Blueprint for Living is one. Let's see logical ordering. Logical ordering, let's see. It's a bit hard for you guys to get to type it, but I think this is a good example of logical ordering. You can sort of talk about it here, right? He talks about what he's about to do, what's around him, and also his environment. That's a fair logical ordering. Yeah. Or we can talk about formatting. Formatting is a really easy one. The Sound of Music. So, okay, look, I think that's an artist, right? It's not the song name. But the formatting, the italics, highlights that it's an artist. What else do we have? Formatting. Formatting. What else do we have? We also have consistency, and we have conventions. Consistency. Do you guys have any ideas what you might write for consistency here? I never really did consistency because the best I could come up with is consistency. It's consistently written in Standard Australian English, which my teacher said was pretty bad, so I never did that again. So do you guys have any ideas for that? And conventions, there's a good one that I've talked about in an earlier short answer. Can you sort of think back to what it was? Also, my phone's charging now, so I can't really see your comments. I'll have to pause my stream. Sentence fragment, yep. What has that got to do with conventions? What has that got to do with coherence? The one in line 17 might be. Rightio, we're off again, but I glance out of the window. Yeah, I guess it's a sentence fragment, but I'll focus more on the conjunction being in the front, but also it doesn't really contribute to coherence. Use of I, excellent, excellent. He repeats it 3 times. He uses I way more than 3 times. Yeah. So he doesn't. I don't know what you might be talking about something else. He's repeating. So that would be a convention of a blog post, right? Because usually you would use first person for blog posts. And what else was I saying? Yeah, consistency. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. Yeah, okay. Consistently using the first person pronoun. I would probably more so opt for what do you call it? Opt for using it under conventions. That would probably be my preference. Yeah, yeah. Good, good. Thank you guys for contributing. Yeah, my stream will lag a bit when I change tabs because I usually view chat on my phone, and now my phone's out of battery, so great. All right, so we'll analyze firstly blueprint for living, and then we'll analyze I. So blueprint for living, line 1. So firstly, I would say something like, what do you call it? Inference can be seen. One. This is a, what do you call it? It's not likely understood. This is likely only understood by the select audience of So, do you guys want to tell me why inference helps coherence? This is a very key point, and it's probably the hardest one to really understand why it links to coherence. Once you understand why it links, then you can just simply say, by avoiding unnecessary explanation. But tell me, like, what do you think coherence means, firstly? And also, how does inference contribute to coherence? This is two very key points. So just put it in the chat, and my phone is back in battery, yay. So I can view what you guys are saying more easily. Yeah, so feel free to drop it in the chat. Once again, I don't really care if you get stuff wrong. What is coherence? Right, what does coherence mean to you in life? Not really just in English language. And how does inference help that? You might need some time to type it. I'll wait a bit. Kianan, thank you for your answer. Anyone else got any views? All right, good. I'll take both your answers then. They're both correct, right? Kianan, thank you. Inference is basically understandability. Coherence, my bad. Coherence is basically how well something can be understood by the people reading it. How well can someone understand it? Can the reader understand it? Right. So for example, something like formatting, it's quite straightforward. If you read like a newspaper with zero formatting, that would be an absolute headache to read. Whereas if you look at, there's titles, there's images, there's italics, it really signals what different things mean to you. Yeah. Matthew, your answer is good. I think Chup Chupper sort of builds upon your answer. And hypoxed, I wouldn't say it's a meaning deeper than the words themselves. In order for the text to be coherent, it must have inference. Not really. Like, inference supports coherence, but it can definitely be coherent without inference. You don't really need inference. Also, does the logical ordering help coherence? Yeah, logical ordering does. Because if something was written randomly, like you've probably seen movies and stuff where they start at the end and skip and stuff, it's really hard for you to understand. They do it for cinematic effect, but it impacts negatively on coherence. So I would challenge what Matthew says, essentially, with the fact that, look, if I didn't understand what it says, it'd be confusing to me. So how is it coherence, right? If I'm reading not Matthew, what's this guy's name? Something Bissett. I think it's also Matthew, is it? No, Colin Bissett. If I read his thing and I didn't know who he was, wouldn't it be more confusing for me? How does that help Coherence? The reason it helps Coherence is because you think about the audience generally as people who know who he is, right? And for those people, if you explain things excessively, it'd be annoying. For example, if you're someone who knows what vectors are, right? If I write A with a sort of the vector symbol underneath it with a tilde, is that what it's called? Yeah. You would know what that means, and that's fine. But if every time I write that to you, I also explain to you what it means, you'd probably get more annoyed. So that's how inference contributes to coherence, because you avoid unnecessary explanations. No, Matthew, that's excellent. No, I'm saying like your answer was really good, and thank you for contributing. I'm just saying the other answer sort of built upon what you said. Um, yeah. Joseph, yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. Rightio, we're off again, back to work. Topic management. Really good idea. All right, so let's talk about the I. So the repetition of I, the repetition of I. What lines do we use for the previous one? 1, 2, 7, 8. Is a convention of blogs which usually involve the writer sharing their own personal experience. Oh, whoops! I forgot to finish my answer for the first part. Of readers who would be aware of this by avoiding unnecessary explanation. Okay, I think my Apple Pen's out of battery. I'll just charge it for a little bit. But essentially, leave Matthew alone. He's good. Thank you for contributing. Anyway, yeah. So what I didn't do, I was going to write it until I asked you guys, is you got to link it into coherence. You can't just say how something is inference. Then you got to link into how it helps coherence, because that's the whole point of the question. Hopefully my pen's charged somewhat. By avoiding unnecessary explanations to Bissett's audience, coherence is improved. And I'll start this on a new line, actually. I'd start here. Can I move it? How do I? Oh, no. Okay. Wasn't that? Oh, it's this thing. Is it? Oh, it worked. Okay, yeah. How do I get rid of this? Cool. All right. The repetition I is a convention of blogs, which usually involves the writer by adhering to what is expected of this text type. Coherence and accessibility is improved. Is enhanced. Let's use enhanced. Cool. We can find one more, actually. So let's have a look. What's another one we can find? Because with 5 markers, and this is sort of a tip I have you guys, the last question is usually worth like 5-6 marks. And I wouldn't stick to that usual guide where one example is worth 2 marks. One example plus explanation is 2 marks. Probably just find more, just like spam it a little bit. I'd say 4 to 5 is fine. Here, I'd say 3 is fine because each one, as you see I'm writing, is really in depth. Is that an essay topic, Levane? Yeah, it's English language. Do you know him, Kianan? Does he go to Scotch? My laptop is about to run out of battery at this rate. Maybe even your light bulbs. Okay, alright. Yeah. Don't worry, this is English language. Okay, yeah. An intruder. Imposter, as, yeah. Alright. What else were we discussing? So I'd usually find 3 techniques. See you later. You should really change your username. Yeah. Anyway, Uh, so three different ones. I wouldn't find like three examples of inference or three examples of logical ordering. You'd look for more. Oh yeah, formatting was the easy one, right? Sound of music. I don't know if these are songs or song names. I'm pretty sure they're song names. Oh yeah, because he writes artists in normal. So I said the italics of the Sound of Music, line 14. Formatting can be seen in the use of italics. All right, Sound of Music, 14, and Mad Men 15. Oh, okay. They're movies? Is Mad Men a movie? I'm pretty sure. Would this also be a song though? I feel like they're songs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like Mad Men and The Sound of Music are like names of particular songs in that movie. That's sort of the feeling I'm going with now. Because he wouldn't say like, do I really have a movie on my iPod? Sound of Music. But if you don't feel safe, then don't use this one. And Mad Men. I'm just showing you how you would probably analyze formatting. Mad Men. The italics make it clear that these are names of song. And you can shove a little bit of meta language in as well if you're very confident about it. So proper nouns, obviously proper nouns. I'm not going to lose marks for that. Made it clear that these proper nouns are names of songs, are song names to the audience, to the readers. And so contributes to the coherence of the blog post. So little things like this, right? Like writing contributes to the coherence of the blog or readers is really good. Shows you sort of interacting with the text really well. And I highly encourage you guys to do that rather than saying text. I would probably go blog, piece, discourse, and then sort of text at the bottom. Try and avoid saying text. It's probably the worst word in English language. All right, so let's have a look at my answers for this that I did like when I actually did this exam. Here. Oops. So right, these are my answers. If you guys are care or are curious. So identify the register. Register is relatively informal. I think I was a little unconfident here. I sort of hedged it a bit. The present tense in I sit down and I scroll down. What I did here that I didn't do in my answers with you guys just then was that I underlined the present tense, which I think is quite good. Whenever you're pointing out a particular thing, like when we were talking about the conjunctions, it's good to underline them. Spontaneous flavor as the reader seems to be following along with Bissett's actions. This story-like use of the present tense serves to lower the register. Right. And also, like I said, I integrated both of these into one piece of analysis because I realized that it was 2 marks. So yeah, past Darren did well on this question. Proper nouns from the semantic field of countries, like China and Mexico, reflect his identity as someone who's familiar with and writes on traveling. The lexical patterning of architecture and architect, so you can say repetition, lexical patterning, reflects his interest in architecture. Resemble spoken language. There's a sense of conversation in the phrase, aren't they lucky? The phrase is an interrogative flavor, which would occur in spoken language. I probably would have lost a mark for this, I feel like. Just because it's an interrogative. I guess this is all right. It's all right. I think our ones that we came up with would be better. Yeah, I think that's substitution. That'd be under cohesion. Another feature is the discourse particle but I glance, wherein it does not serve its conventional role as a conjunction. I don't know why I didn't finish this piece of analysis. I think I maybe run out of time. I did this relatively early on, by the way, in my prep. All right, and last one, coherence. Logical ordering, right, declares its activities in chronological order. First he sits down, line 1, then goes through his music. So if you want to look at a prime example of how to analyze logical ordering, this is it. So just have a read of it. Let me know if you have any questions. This is how you analyze logical ordering. You need to do it concisely, and you need to make it very, very clear that it is logical ordering, not just 3 random ideas that you found. Cool, we'll move on then. If you have questions, just drop them. Inference can be seen in Blueprint for Living. Basically what I did. It is expected that readers of Bissett's blog know that this is the name of ABC Radio National Program. By not having to explain what the phrase refers to, unnecessary explanations are omitted and coherence is improved. The piece is evidently written in standard Australian English. This is because I ran out of things to write. Yeah, like I don't know whether I'd get the mark for this. Probably a bit dubious. I'd probably if this was a practice piece, I would just take the mark from myself because that's how you're meant to do it. Yeah, coherence. Where else? Logical ordering, formatting. Yeah. All right, we'll move on. So next we'll look at the AC. I have my AC here, but we'll look at this here. So the AC piece is here. We talked about cramps, right? And the way I usually wrote ACs was I wrote about register, okay? Then I wrote about function and social purpose. And then I wrote about what do you call it? About coherence and cohesion. So here, I would not do a paragraph on sort of the stuff you do with spoken discourse, topic management or relationships or whatever, because there's one guy talking. There's like zero relationships here. And the reason why I would do coherence cohesion is because of the fact that this piece is so formal and there's a lot of coherence cohesion paragraphs, like ideas that I could use. I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Now, first question for you guys. Not first question, but I'm curious with you guys, where do you analyze prosodics in a spoken text? I'd like to hear. Just drop it in the chat. No right or wrong answer. Or there's one answer I think's better, but no objectively right or wrong answer. So let me know. I'd be curious. Thomas, yo Darren, would you say it's better to do a heap of practice? Oh, hi Tom. Again, thanks for dropping in. Or just do them until you feel comfortable with all parts, because obviously it's hard to get marking with essays, etc. Look, yeah, definitely do them until you feel comfortable with all parts, right? You don't want to do a bunch of practice exams and you don't really get any better. I would say though, with getting marking for essays, what I did was I wrote a lot of paragraphs and then I sort of went to see my teacher and in one go sort of went through all of them. I would suggest that's more efficient than sort of writing an essay, sending it in, writing an essay, sending it in. Sort of booking a time with them and going through a couple essays together. Yeah, and in general, it's better to learn from your practice exams. But also don't yeah, I guess figure out how many practice exams you'd like to get done before the actual exam. I wouldn't say you wouldn't want to think to yourself, oh, I don't need to do that much, and sort of use it as an excuse. Yeah. All right, Joseph, for logical ordering, do you have to specifically quote parts? I don't think you can. I think you can paraphrase. So you're sort of talking about what he did in the morning in from lines 1 to 8, what he did, blah, 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 lines 6 to 20, lines 30 to 44, talks about what he does at night, logical ordering. I do prosodics mainly in text with more than one participant. No, that's not what I meant, Matthew. Thank you very much again for participating. I meant where do you analyze prosodics in your AC? You have to analyze prosodics here as well. Don't neglect prosodics here. You have to analyze it. It doesn't really depend on what type of spoken text. If it's spoken, you have to analyze prosodics. I'm curious as to where you guys analyze it. Sort of where, not quite, chuffs. There is emphatic stress, there's a lot of it. But where would you analyze it in your AC? Do you analyze it with register? Do you analyze it by itself? I'm curious to hear. Joseph, how many practice exams did I do? Not that many, because I have another English, in case you guys don't know. And I had to put a lot of effort into that one as well. This probably I did 2 ones for school, 2 2-hour ones, and then 6 or 7, I'd say. Sort of company in class or sort of at home. Maybe slightly more than that. Prosodics in coherence and cohesion paragraph. Interesting take. Anyone else? By itself? Tom? Okay. Any more ideas? Okay, Kianan. Interesting take. So, all right, my opinion on this and the way I did it, and you can sort of see when I show you guys my AC, is that I did it throughout my piece, everywhere. Reason for that is when you analyze prosodics, you have to make sure they serve a purpose. Or not make sure they serve a purpose. Ignore what I said. When you analyze prosodics, you realize that they often serve a purpose. For example, here, right? Welcome. That's social purpose, but it also has emphatic stress. So would you put this in social purpose and not analyze the prosodics? Would you put it in prosodics and then your prosodics paragraph just becomes really messed up because it's got social purpose, function, all sorts of stuff in it? So that's why I analyze it throughout. So in my social purpose paragraph, I would say, welcome, presents a, warm invitation to the people present. Further, the emphatic stress emphasizes this sense of sort of kinship and in-group solidarity. Yeah, chub chubs. That's what I do as well. That's sort of my advice for you guys. If you have like reasons why you don't do it my way, then like that's fine. You don't have to do it my way. And that's sort of, I'm just presenting why I chose to do it the way I did it. Social purpose, yeah, it does tie in with social purpose, but I wouldn't limit yourself to that. Things like 6,133.89 arguably function or social purpose, right? And they all have emphatic stress. Cool. I think someone said something. I did 9 practice exams in the last 2 weeks, so I'm chilling. It depends what marks you're getting. If you're happy with the marks you're getting, then it's fine to chill a bit and not like, how do I say it? Not like work on your other subjects as well. But also keep in mind that I had another English. And if you combine them, I would definitely have done more than 9 practice exams and would have put a lot of effort into them. All right, so let's have a look at this together then. Hopefully you guys do it my way in terms of register, social purpose function, coherence, cohesion. It's a little more confusing if you do it the other way in terms of like the way I'm going to go through this, but it's fine. If we look at register, what are some register features that you guys see? Hear me. Oh yeah, Joseph, definitely you're on the right track. Yeah. Make sure you're getting better each exam and you're feeling more confident with your timing. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. Good job. Congrats on getting nine practice exams done. All right, hear me. Features of register. Elevated Lexis, good, excellent. You can find specific words if you'd like, or you can do meta languages, Kian and stuff. More. Hit me with more. Yeah, Tom, I do. I don't know if you have Whiteman, but he said you can use coherence cohesion. Now, I asked a girl who got a 50 a couple of years ago what she advises her students do. And I think it's fine because it works. And because, when you see a really formal spoken text, it's basically written. Politeness marker, good. I guess that's formal. That's, what do you call it? That's, register. Normalization, good, register. Elevated Lexis, good, register. So, sometimes you got to make a business decision, right? Something like affirmation, it can be under register, can be under normalization, can be under polysyllabic lexemes, can be under social purpose, right? Which one would I do it under? I'd probably do it under social purpose because it has that emphatic stress with it. I might also do it as normalization because I feel like there's a lot more polysyllabic lexemes than here. So sometimes you have to make business decisions here. Jargon, I don't think there is any here. Oh, there's like proper names and stuff. These are like titles. I would say they're also formal. They're not really jargon though. But yeah, good point. You can talk about jargon a lot of the time. Yeah, so good work, guys. Also, another question. Where do you talk about context in your pieces? Curious to hear. Oh, also, I'm not sure if this will happen during this stream, but if I like get close to 2K, can someone let me know? I would appreciate that. Thanks. Because I can't really check my like subscriber count. But if it gets close, just let me know. I'm a bit curious. Passive voice. Yeah, passive voice, definitely. Usually Asianless passives is the way you go. Passive voice by itself is not particularly formal, I'd say. With purpose, okay, try hard. Where else would you guys put context? Situation, context, and short introduction, but once again, all throughout. Good chop chops, that's sort of the way I do it. Anyone else? Actually, I think that's enough. It's not the most important question in the world. So I do context throughout. So for example, this, I could talk about formality, right? The use of the titles, National Citizenship Day, Government House. I think Governor General is somewhere. Yeah, Governor General as I, and as Governor General, right? This dude's like pretty formal. That also contributes to context. It contributes to the context of this as being like a government and like a very Australian like induction ceremony. So I would mention both. And I'll do it in my register paragraph, but I'd mention context. Have context dotted throughout if you don't have a paragraph on it by itself. All right, cool. Next, my next paragraph, sort of function, social purpose. So function, social purpose, hit me with some examples that you guys have. We'll do them together. Any words, any meta language that you'd be looking at here that you would use in your function or social purpose paragraph. After this, I'll show you guys my piece. Plus, if you're really want to sort of extend yourself, give me a function or social purpose word or like sentence or whatever, and tell me whether and tie it into a prosodic that's there, if you can find one. Take your time, but also please put stuff in the chat. I'd be interested to see. Yep, to commemorate, I would say, is a function. I would say that is to commemorate a function of this text, by the way. Is to commemorate a function of this text. Is to commemorate a function of this text. I don't know why I thought so much about that. I was just looking at the Isaac's comment below it. My bad. Is to commemorate a function of the text? I would say yes. But like, it's hard to find like features of commemorate, and oftentimes the features of commemorate would probably be under function. Oh, no, sorry, under social purpose, honestly. So I'd probably keep function to inform. I guess you can say to celebrate as well, their backgrounds, but you just want to make a distinction with your social purpose. So I think it's fine to use if you're able to find features that commemorate and also features that support your social purpose that is separate. A nominalization, how does that contribute to a formal register? So nominalization, if you think about it, right? Let's say, what's a good one I can use? Celebration. All right. Let's say the soccer players celebrated after their win, or the soccer players had a celebration after their win. Have a think about that, right? For me personally, and I sort of realized this more this year, celebration sounds more abstract. It sounds more airy. It's not as concrete. It's not like, you don't see people like, yeah, like we celebrated. You sort of think of it as like this event. There was a celebration. We celebrated. We celebrated like concrete action. There was a celebration is more like, yeah, like what? A bit airy. And so that abstract tone, that's what you'd say, this abstract tone contributes to the formality. Chop-chops, open, free, democratic way of life. Listing promotes Aussie values. Good, emphatic stress, good. So the emphatic stress on democratic links to cultural context. Yep. Go a little bit further there. Look at the words themselves. Right, what do you think about open, free, democratic? Use some meta language to dissect those words for me, please. Nas, welcome to the stream, by the way, Nas. I'm pretty sure you're the Nas that I know. But how does polysyllabic lexemes make the register formal? If you think about it, right, if you use a lot of words that a lot of syllables, it makes it formal. So words like ingenuity, enthusiasm, usually quite formal. Oh yeah, and 1.98k, thank you. I think I was at 1,979 before this stream. So like, if we get to 1.99, do let me know. But yeah, thanks for telling me, Isaac. So chops, I'm sort of waiting on if you have any further ideas about that. Yeah, excellent. So that's more meta language. That's more dissecting of the piece. Excellent. So thank you for contributing. Other things you have, positive connoted nouns, allegiance, right? Emphatic stress, diverse, harmonious. Like this piece, like I said, they really just give it to you. Every single thing that you find is like related to social purpose has prosodics linked to it. Tricolon, open, free, democratic. I would opt to say listing because of the fact that listing's on the study design and tricolon isn't. Positively connoted adjectives, open, free, democratic. Good. What do you guys think about these lines here? Actually, this one you can juice it so much. There is like so much you can talk about here. What do you guys think you can talk about here? There was like 5 or 6 things. You would get so many marks. I think if you find a top student and you find a student who's average and they analyze this, you can really, really see the difference between the two. So give this a go. Don't be afraid if you like miss stuff. Just say the most obvious things and that kind of. Parallelism, good. Social purpose, good. Good. Try hard. What do the pauses do? There's not really, what do the pauses do? Let me know. Repetition of nation, good. Emphatic stress, combined with emphatic stress. You see how they tie together? Social purpose prosodics ties together with parallelism, with repetition. Yeah. Simple lexical patterning. Yeah, go for it. That's good. Repeated pauses for emphasis. Good, good, good. And if you want to really draw it out, right, you don't just want to say repeated pauses for emphasis. Like no one, I get you sort of have a short amount of words you can type on the thing, but pauses, really let each sentence sink in to the listener before moving on to the next sentence. And this whole thing augments and really increases his message. So a really top student would be able to find all these features and analyze them well. And yeah, you guys seem to get most of it, so it's good. But sort of you need to be able to analyze it well as well. You got to convince them with your words of your point. Meta language isn't enough at times, but that's excellent. A story is a pretty similar deal with that. Here you can sort of say the prosodics to tie in with humor. You can say someone said building rapport a bit earlier. You can do that with building rapport. It's what thrive on, enriches, defines us. All this like very positively connoted. This sense of movement, the sense of like these people who are coming are making us better, are part of who we are. This whole acceptance thing. Comparative adjectives. Where was that? Where was comparative adjectives? Joseph. And this loud, right? He concludes his speech with a loud and resounding welcome and congratulations. Kangaroos is more humor. I think this is interesting, right? What do you think the point of him using little is? Actually, there's not much point of little, but like it's sort of how do I say it? It's more tender, adds a tender touch to it. Would you analyze the parallelism part and its pauses, connotations, and effects just separately, or all in the same example? All in the same example, definitely all in the same example. So I would say something like, I'm not sure if I do it in my piece. I'm not sure if I did it in my piece because I wrote it last year. But I would say, the parallelism of a nation and nation and nation, combined with the pauses. I wouldn't say there's many connotations there. Combined with the emphatic stress, really emphasizes all the positive qualities that Australia has, such as maybe quote some things. Further, the pauses at the start, let each sentence soak it in so that the audience truly appreciate the beauty of Australia. Good. So here, what do you think? What are some features you guys notice here? And this will be the sort of last part before I show you guys my AC. What features do you notice here and what does it do? And what paragraph would you put it under? Actually, no, after this, I forgot coherence, cohesion. So we'll do this and then coherence, cohesion. And then I'll show you guys my piece. So look at this and hit me. Come on, we're the usual guys who speak up. Literally say anything. I reinstate, I do not care if you get things wrong or if you get meta language wrong. Context? Yeah, a little bit. Not really the biggest idea here. And actually, what part of it do you think, like what context, what part of this contributes to what kind of context? I'd be interested to hear, Matthew. Semantic field of countries, yeah, sure. But what does that do? Listings of countries, occupations, shows the identity of the audience? Yes. Go a step further. Yeah, it shows the identity of the audience. But what does it truly do? Clarifying where everyone's from? Yes, it does that at a surface level. But what's it really doing here? What's the point of him saying this? Why does he say this? What's this guy trying to achieve? It's not really just because they know where they're from, right? They're sort of, but why does he say this in his welcoming speech? Yeah, good. Chops. So you would really strengthen that point. Listing of the country's occupation includes everyone. Second person pronoun, deictic efferents, hypernyms, contraction, inference, listing. You wouldn't need to talk about that much. The main point here is the listing and the semantic field. Probably the listing is the biggest part. Listing of various backgrounds, various occupations, semantic field of occupations, engineers, academics, homemakers, doctors, countries, China, Vietnam, Pakistan, Canadians, right? What this does is really includes them, spotlights each of them, highlights the diversity of Australia. Like Chap says, multiculturalism, and makes them feel welcome. Dan, excellent. Ben, welcome. Use of personal pronoun you likely reduces social distance. You directly addresses them, really makes them feel close to him, that he knows them personally, as personal as he can. He knows where they're from, knows their background. sort of acknowledges their background, pays respect to them. Excellent. So social purpose. Solidarity, reinforce diversity, listen to countries. Good, good. Thank you, guys. There's a very good flurry of answers. Excellent job. All right. So now we're moving on to coherence, cohesion. Let me check if I really did coherence, cohesion. But yeah, in the meantime, try and find some coherence, cohesion paragraphs. Ideas for me. Yeah, okay, I did do coherence, cohesion. So what are some features of coherence, cohesion? Actually, we'll skip coherence. We talked about that already. Cohesion. What are some features of cohesion that you guys can see here? Good. Thank you, Naz. That would be under conventions and coherence. Good. Six. Momo, what does that mean? Six. Formulaic openings. Good. Conventions. Good. Yeah. So I was looking more for cohesion because we talked about coherence, but that's completely fine. You sort of have, so remember cohesion, conjunctions is a part of cohesion, and that's only if it starts the sentence. So you have because today, right? That's an example of cohesion. Anaphoric referencing you can usually find. It just takes a little bit of time, but usually it's there because you kind of have to use it normally. Collocation, I don't think that's in is it? It may be under cohesion. It wasn't a common one I used, but where is the collocation? Wagat. All right, and just finally, what do you guys think this part does here? These two places. In particular, I want you to focus on one word in particular here. Front focus, nation, good. Anaphoric reference, this depends if what's mentioned happened beforehand. I don't really know because there's a lot of this here. Ladies and gentlemen is also a collocation, which is cohesion. Yes, I would probably use it more for conventions. I feel like it's a bit better. Like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, whatever he says. What does he say? Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Include synonymy, antinomy. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of broad. I was looking for more specific examples, but that's fine. In the time that you're given. Challenging negative face, isn't that related to cohesion or coherence? Modal verbs is also not under cohesion or coherence. Oh, no, you're talking about this one. Yeah. So what do you think he does? Not challenging face, like... Okay, I mean, if I told you, no, you will do your homework, that's challenging face. But like, think about it. If this guy's saying it, do you think he's trying to change your face? High modality throughout the text, good chop chops. What does that do though? Yep, good. That's sort of context. I want a bit more. What paragraph would you put this under? What does it actually do? And also, yeah, so challenging negative face, oftentimes these things are variable to context. Like imperative might be a joke between your friends, but with someone else, it might be very condescending. Same thing with here. I don't think he's challenging someone's negative face here because they want to take the affirmation, right? So what do you think it's doing? Imperative? Yeah, kind of. It gives a sort of imperative feel to it. I wouldn't say it is an imperative. But I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to think about what it does. Social purpose. Excellent. 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 Excellent, Kelly. Why does it tie in with social purpose? I would say it ties in with both function and social purpose, honestly. Function is that surface level, what a lot of you have been saying. It tells them what they're going to do. But how does it tie into social purpose? Accepting them? Yes, but you need to make the link a bit clearer. Okay, I'll just tell you guys. What it does is that it just sort of expresses certainty that they will become part of Australia. You know, they're like insured a part in Australia. Yeah, assuring. Good, nice. All right, excellent. We'll move back to the whiteboard then, and we'll have a look at my AC. So, I'll just go through it. Okay, my Apple Pencil's out of battery. In the meantime, you guys can have a read of the intro. So this piece was a speech which was delivered by Australia's Governor General, Sir Peter Cosgrove, in recognition of Australian Citizenship Day. A context that's slightly different to the way they word it in the thing. He adopts a formal register throughout, which is to be expected of such a ceremonious occasion. Tying in register with function is often a good context is often a good idea. Things like blogs, interviews, quite informal. His speech is a primary audience of the people present who are about to formally become Australian citizens, as he seeks to welcome them to becoming a part of Australia. The social purpose of the speech is to present Australia as an inclusive and diverse environment, which is welcoming of differences. Yeah, cool. So if we just look at sort of context, right? We have register, we have audience. Where is it? Audience. We have, I guess mode is kind of implied in speech. Mode. Purpose meaning function is here. So P. And then social purpose S is here. Cool. One thing I'd like you to note is I sort of change my starts. Right. He adopts his speech, the social purpose, this piece. I vary my beginnings a bit. You don't really want to become too repetitive, saying like the social purpose is, the function is, the register is. That's kind of boring. All right, now let's have a look at what points I picked for my formal register. Good thing to mention in your topic sentences is what the register is. So don't just say like there are many features that support the register. Don't just say like many features support the social purpose. Say it supports the register, the formal register, supports the social purpose of blah, blah, blah. I think that shows you're interacting with the text a lot. And I probably shouldn't have used text so much. Probably should have used like speech. My classic trio that I start with, right here, elevated polysyllabic lexemes. Next, normalizations. Oh, okay, I don't begin with normalizations. Oh, here, normalizations. Yeah. I don't know why I did this formulaic and ceremonious opening here. That means I must have found a better convention or like more enough things to talk about in coherence. Otherwise, I wouldn't have talked about conventions here. Formulaic and ceremonious opening, normalizations, elevated lexis. And you can sort of have a read of how I analyze it. So I introduce them, right? And then I say what it does. Usually with these, it's good to come up with a couple examples because it's sort of what elevated lexis, you got to highlight that it happens throughout the text. You can't just find one word. I mean, if you have any questions or you want to read a particular paragraph at all, just let me know and I will pause. But otherwise, we're going to kind of speed through this. Social distance. However, there are moments of informality as well, right? And this is something that a lot of people wouldn't acknowledge. Oh, whoops. I need to change this as well. Yeah. There's a thing a lot of people might not acknowledge. Right, sort of hip hops and the fact that he says kangaroo and loud, and so it's good to acknowledge. So this is what it would be like, sort of like an original analysis. Not many people would talk about this because they'd be like, oh, it's a bit hard. How do I acknowledge? Is it formal? Is it informal? Cool. See, with function, I really mention the function. I say it's a welcoming function. I don't just say function. And the social purpose of presenting Australia as enriched by diversity, right? And look at the stuff that I talk about. The repetition of welcome, simple lexical patterning of you directly addresses them, like Ben said, repetition of new and the parallelism of new start and new opportunities. Right. Many proper nouns from the semantic field of countries, exactly what I talked about with you guys. Positive face needs, directly mentions the homelands of many of the people. So my language helps my analysis. When I say homelands, that's sort of like a very emotional term. Hip hop, I don't think it's reduplication. I'm pretty sure reduplication is when you mention the same word twice. I'm fairly sure. There is syntactic patterning in the form of parallelism, a story that begins with, a story enriched by, a story you are now part of. This parallelism is orally pleasing. That's the point of parallelism. It sounds quite nice. Along with the emphatic stress, you see how the prosodics play in with what you want to say and how nice it is when you show that things work together. Discourse works together with syntactic patterning to truly put forward the strongest point about the social purpose. Through the repetition and emphatic stress of new in new life, blah, 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 he aims to underscore how his audience will undoubtedly go on to enrich Australian society. right? He often says that these guys will become Australia. They will enrich Australia. They will make Australia better. Cosgrove shifts to the more inclusive pronouns we and us. This is also a very good piece of analysis. Why? Because I'm acknowledging changes. It's formal, but it's also informal. Why is it informal? They use you a lot, but they also use we. Why do they use we here? Why do they use you there? Acknowledging these differences, these nuances, is like top tier. He concludes his speech with the exceedingly positively connoted adverbs wholeheartedly, unreservedly, and places emphatic stress. I tie in prosodics with what I'm saying. As extremely hospitable and welcoming to his listeners. Okay. Someone asked a good question about sort of coherence and using it in a spoken text. I would acknowledge that. I would say, this is a spoken text. Usually we don't talk about coherence. But I would say the formality lends it to many instances of coherence. And I would say as long as you present anything logical, you're not going to lose marks for it. Logical ordering can be seen as Cosgrove first welcomes everyone. I think someone asked me, Joseph, I think it was you, who asked me how you would analyze logical ordering, whether you need a quote. You can quote, right, sort of like I did here, but sort of just short ones. You just want to make it really clear it's logical ordering rather than getting bogged down in specific words. So he talks about, he welcomes everyone, talks about the occasion, the richness, and then finishes with congratulations. Pretty logical. You would finish with congratulations. What para is this a part of? The one I'm looking at now is coherence, cohesion. Yeah, because my first paragraph was register. And if you look at the features I'm talking about, it's coherence. And combined with the congratulations. Cool. Now we'll move on to the next page. Setting out is easy to follow. Listing. I made a mistake here, okay? I thought listing was like the L in coherence in Kill CC was listing. I often made that mistake, so don't do that. It's for logical ordering. But this I'd put on a social purpose instead. Right. Next we look at inference, seen in Lewis Kang. I don't think many people would think of him as inference, in the sense that they just think it's a name. Would have been evident, whatever. Cohesive ties. So the way I analyze coherence, cohesion is I talk about coherence first, and then I talk about cohesion. I say cohesion supports coherence, and then I go into all those cohesive devices. And that's really good because it kind of, that like makes it more specific. Like separates those two. It's really easy to get confused about cohesion and coherence. It's really easy to get bogged down in this helps cohesion, helps coherence. But by doing it in this way, I think it really helps clarify the differences. Conjunctions can be seen in, I probably should have underlined these. Right. Links is current utterance to the previous one. And in speaking, you say utterances. You don't really say like sentences. Thus, in his speech, he adopts many conventions of a formal address as he aims to welcome this new wave of Australian citizens. A simple conclusion. I like having a conclusion in anything because it sort of makes it seem like you've finished and ends it properly. And here I just sort of talk about it generally. What's it trying to do? What's it done? Yeah, so cohesion, coherence in the same paragraph. No. They're in the same paragraph, Joseph, as you can see. But here, right, this is where I stop talking about coherence and I start talking about cohesion. I say I acknowledge their relationship, cohesion supports coherence, but then I go a lot into cohesion. Hopefully that helps. All right, now we're getting to the fun part. We're going to look at essays. Do you guys have any questions with this, first off? If you have questions, we'll look at it. Any questions you have, drop them in the comments below. I keep saying that, comments below, in the chat. But next we'll look at essays, and this will be quite good. What do you link register with when you do a register paragraph? What do I link register with? I don't link it with anything. I'm just sort of find features that support register. What do you mean by linking stuff with register? Not quite sure. Yeah. How many examples did you use per average each paragraph? Look, I really didn't think about that. But if you want to look, like, let's just find, oh shoot, my Maro. This is great. Oh my goodness. I need to do this so carefully. All right. Mara really needs to fix this. All right. If we look at several features, right, we sort of have welcome, 1 feature, symbol lexical patterning, 2 features, new, 3 features, and the parallelism, proper noun semantic field, 4 features, syntactic patterning, 5 features, repetition, emphatic stress, 6 features, undoubtedly go towards the end, 7 features, we, us, wholeheartedly, 8 features, unreservedly, sort of part of the same thing, maybe 8, 9, 10, I guess. I also wrote a lot more than the average person because I can write really quickly. I doubt many people can write as much as this. Especially I did ACs in 40 minutes. So because I write quickly and also so I could get away with like less time and writing a similar amount. Would you recommend smaller compact gems, more paragraphs, or long paragraphs? I think you shouldn't like just come up with a paragraph structure, like register 1, function social purpose 2, coherence 3, and then just stick with that. I don't know what you mean by more paragraphs. I would sometimes, because you need to find things to split the paragraphs by. There's not much else to say after those main points. The only time where I did more paragraphs was for spoken. Right, I got to the end and I did like 1 paragraph on spontaneity and I did 1 paragraph on like relationships between the speakers. That was the only time I sort of did multiple paragraphs. My teacher said it's better to link with social purpose or function. Okay, well, I mean, register doesn't really help function. It can help social purpose in terms of building rapport or solidifying authority, but I wouldn't link it with function because it's pretty not really relevant. When should I write about the impact on the audience within my paragraphs? I think this is, well, function and social purpose. Social purpose is probably the main part, and function. Coherence is also impact on audience. Some people do ACs with like 6 paragraphs with the 3 examples. I think that's what they mean by gems. Well, what would each paragraph be about? Oh, that's giving too much away. Yeah. What would each paragraph be about if you do 6 paragraphs? Do you want to send me a picture, Joseph, on Instagram? If you have Instagram. Or email, preferably Instagram. 6 paragraphs with like 3. Oh, also the exam ones are not that good, honestly. Like, yeah. Sometimes it's even funny. Sometimes they even write it's like a medium high. Like it's not even a high. I don't get why they don't just get like the person who got 50 and put their thing in. Oh, but I guess it kind of shows you like the variety of marks. But at least they should put both in, like a medium high, a low, and a very high. Because it's a bit annoying sometimes when you want to look for a really high scoring example. Anyway, we'll talk about the essays now. Oh, okay, Joseph. Yeah, thanks for like sort of thinking about it. Build solidarity. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. I think there's no real structure for ACs. If you find that way makes you flow better, then go for it. But I feel like it becomes too disparate, particularly in 40 minutes. If I had to split my time between each paragraph, I would go mad. And yeah, it's really annoying for self-assessing when they don't put the highs. Yeah, agreed. All right, more interactive stuff now. We're looking at the essay. And here is the essay topic here. All right, the way I plan with essay topics is I look at them and I think about possible paragraphs I can write. So I arrange my paragraphs by meta language, slang, jargon, Aussie English, TeenSpeak, PC language. And I list down all the ones that are relevant to topic. And then I pick my 3 best ones. So with this topic, I would like you guys to drop in the chat what you would write about. What's one body paragraph that you would use here? And also a bonus question, if you don't know what to write, you have no clue what the topic's about, how do you figure out, like what do you do next? If you read the topic, you have no clue what body paragraphs you're writing, you should write about, you have no clue what the topic's about, what should you do then? That's my question 2. First question, body paragraphs that you can use in the essay. Second question, if you can't think of body paragraphs, looking at the topic, what do you do? Excellent, excellent, Croc-Mister. That's an excellent, yeah. Good. Ben, excellent. I've trained you well, Ben. Yeah. So what you do is you look at the stimulus. Because, for example, this topic here, I'll show you guys the one I was talking about later. But the one about like freedom of speech, I had no clue really what that's about. But that one, I look at the stimulus. One's about PC, and I'm like, oh, that's what it means by freedom of speech. Sort of being careful with your language. PC language, good. Slang, I guess, if you have stuff that sort of attacks people's face needs. What else? I talked about this with a student today. What is like really, really similar to PC language? That anytime you use PC language, you can practically use this body paragraph as well. What's something that's really, really similar to PC language? Taboo, you could use it, excellent. But it's like not really. Yes, Joseph, that's excellent. That's how I would use taboo. So it sort of extends upon tryhard's answer. I would probably do that in my third paragraph. In an Australian context, big Australian context, we use swearing to like build rapport, even though it apparently attacks face needs. That's what makes us unique. Dan, good. Oh, jargon? I wouldn't say so. Why do you think jargon would be used here? What does jargon have got? How is jargon relevant to face needs? Euphemisms are similar to PC. Excellent. Euphemisms. Good. I'll write all this down, by the way. So we have PC. Oh, whoops. I won't use red. So we have PC. We have euphemisms. What else do we have, guys? We have slang. We have taboo, which is, interesting in Australia. Yeah. And then you sort of pick the best ones you'd want to use. Also, there are some other examples. Jargon's a good one, actually. Dan, I don't know why you haven't justified it yet, but jargon you can actually talk about in the sense that it seems to attack face needs if you don't understand it. Right? But it's actually necessary to communicate successfully because it helps ease of communication. So it does come at a little cost, but yeah. Another big one is TeamSpeak. Yeah, and here you'd find your three best ones. I would probably go for Aussie English, sort of here, how in Australia we sort of swear at each other to be friends. I do PC euphemisms, Aussie English. I do PC euphemisms as sort of protecting face needs, and I would say actually for successful communication in Australia, you can't always be nice and lovey-dovey with everyone. You have to swear a bit, you have to joke about with your friends, and that's how you really communicate successfully in Australian context. You can write a completely different essay with different body paragraphs, and it still works as well. Okay, Dan, I guess so. I don't really know any examples of PC languages being jargon, but if you do, then it's completely plausible. Cool. All right. Let's have a look at the stimulus, by the way. Actually, no. Do you guys want to look at the stimulus? No, I don't think it's that important. We'll look at the stimulus for the one that I found like quite hard. Oh, this one. Yeah, okay. So in contemporary Australian society, freedom of speech is sometimes considered to be freedom to say or write anything. For me, this was a bit of a weird topic. Ben, good question. What about the negative face needs part of the topic? So negative face needs is the need to sort of be yourself. So it's sort of the opposite side of the coin, right? You can say like, for example, teen speak. For negative face needs, you got to sacrifice other people's sort of positive face needs for your own negative face needs. For teenagers to seem individual and to cater for their own face needs, negative face, they don't care about other people's positive. For my one, Aussie English, right? You attack sort of face needs. You can sort of argue that it's the whole Australian negative face needs. That's how we stand out from other countries, by challenging each other's positive face needs. Whereas PC is sort of not really relevant to negative. PC and euphemisms. So maybe I will change my paragraph, actually. That's a good point. All right, this is so annoying. Myro, please fix it. Yeah, maybe I would use TeamSpeak then. Maybe PC, TeamSpeak, taboo. Yeah, but my PC and euphemism paragraphs were pretty strong. So, but my TeamSpeak was pretty good as well. All my paragraphs were pretty good. Yeah. What about the negative? Can you talk about situation, context, plus audience and how this influences the need to meet face? Yeah, you can. Definitely can. So examples oftentimes of context, right? Context of being in Australia means oftentimes you can swear and be friends. I had an example of two guys who were brothers, and they like swore at each other in an interview. And that's the context. They're brothers, so they don't really care. It actually shows closeness that they swear with each other. Similarly, like things that like jargon, right? If you just use it in like a dinner conversation, then it's a bit weird. You're probably attacking other people's face needs. But if you're using it within the workplace, it's not really attacking other people's face needs, even though they might overhear it. It's more so to communicate effectively in your circle of work. Hope that helps. All right, freedom of speech. When I first saw this, I was like, what the heck? Like, what? This doesn't seem like an Englang topic. But then you sort of read this, and I think I told you guys that this is on PC. If you read this last stimulus, it's basically PC. This one, I don't think is relevant to anything. This is probably PC. This one, I don't know. I don't know any meta language that's relevant to this. So I'd probably ride with PC as my main idea and sort of think about other stuff. If you guys have any ideas about what meta language these stimuli refer to, then feel free to pop in the chat. But with this one, all right, now we're brainstorming this one. What are some paragraphs you can put? PC, I've sort of said, sort of an obvious one. What's the other one? Classic one. Come on, I say PC, you should say something straight afterwards. And what else as well? Euphemisms, good. Thanks, Ben. Any other paragraphs you guys would use? Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, you can link to face needs. That's fine. Euphemism, yeah, good. Thanks, Naz. And also, you got to think about how they contribute to topic, right? Euphemisms show that you can't really say anything. We are restricted by our sort of cultural values. PC language, we're restricted by the need to protect other people. We can't just say things randomly, right? What you might say is that you might acknowledge as a third paragraph in that in Australia, right, we have more freedom than other places. We have the freedom to, use more taboo language because that's how Australians operate. So you can sort of argue that point. And the classic example that I'm pretty sure a lot of people have is like the Kaylee McEwen one, right? Normally other countries, when they win, they probably won't be like F yeah, right? But she does. And it's fine. There's sort of more freedom of speech in Australia. Ben Davern, double speak, used to obfuscate. I mean, how does that play into freedom? It doesn't quite play into freedom. Nas, Aboriginal English, because of the stimulus. Yeah, the difficulty here is that it's more attacking us Aboriginals. It's saying like derogatory language is used against Aboriginals. That's what the stimulus is sort of saying. So if I'm trying to use like Aboriginal English, like my body paragraph about Aboriginal English, I don't really have any quotes about how people don't like Aboriginals. It's more so celebrating their use of words like mob or deadly. So I wouldn't be able to frame it here. Cool. All right, we'll move on to the next one then. Last topic. So let's have a look at this. Language can reveal the underlying attitudes of dominant groups to a range of identities and cultures in the contemporary Australian context. So low key, this is not even grammatically correct. Language use can reveal the underlying attitudes. Like, what does it mean by attitudes to a range of identities? Oh, this might be harder than I thought. Underlying attitudes to a range of identities and cultures. So I'd look at the stimulus. Yeah, this is actually kind of hard. It's about how like people might have different attitudes. Like how we use our language reflects the way we view different kinds of people and stuff. Covert, overt norms. I wouldn't say so. What I think this topic's asking is, how does our language, so me using PC reflects the fact that, reflects my attitude of being progressive and inclusive of certain groups of people. Teen speak? I'd like you guys to try and frame this in topic. How does teen speak contribute to the topic, Naz? This is kind of hard. I wouldn't write on this. I'd probably just write on the first one, honestly. Yeah, you can do that, Joseph. The problem is I don't have much evidence for that. I don't know if you've prepared that, but like the more typical paragraphs, you just prepare, accents or ethnolex. You don't really prepare with attitudes towards ethnolex. So one thing I highly advise you guys to do, right, especially if you've done 9 practice exams already, is to consider, what was it? Consider like essay topics you couldn't write on in the SAC, in the exam, and think about what paragraphs would have been nice to have, and then prepare those paragraphs. So I never prepared an attitudes paragraph, and I sort of got away with it. But you can, right? I wouldn't have those paragraphs prepared. Kelly, I would talk about teen speak, jargon, standard language, and also technology. How does jargon reflect our attitude to identities and cultures, though? Standard language doesn't also really do that. Technology, I guess, kind of does. But you see the difficulty in this topic. Yeah, I find myself continuing to run the same paragraphs in my exam, so I should look at other areas in the study design and just prepare paragraphs for those. Yeah, but also like looking at other essay topics is probably a better idea than just the study design. Thinking about what paragraphs you might need is a really good way. So that paragraph, I had a paragraph on tall poppy syndrome. Do you guys want to drop in the chat what you think tall poppy syndrome is? But essentially I had a paragraph on that, and that's not really in the study design or anything you'd really think about. But I realized that I needed it for an essay. I prepared it and I actually used it. So yeah, if you use the same paragraphs, it's probably because there's usually an identity topic like every exam. So like, it's like the easy one. But I'll definitely try and expand your breadth, Joseph. But yeah, so what's tall poppy syndrome? You guys want to drop it in the chat? Equality, kind of, but expand a bit more. What about equality? That Australia's equal? That we want to be equal? What exactly is it? Yeah, good chups. Try hard, not quite not wanting to stand out. It's tied in with that. It's more so Australians look down at people who stand out. We try and cut down people who try and stand out. So you guys probably know words like sweat or words like flex. They're a bit out of use now, but they used to be a couple years ago, I think. People, oh, you're such a sweat, or stop flexing. So anyone who like seems like a tryhard sort of gets put down. You probably see this in your classrooms as well. How standard Australian English cutting is about not wanting to be too stuck up. Yeah, I would contend that like it's not also too stuck up. It's just anyone who puts in any effort. I wouldn't say they're stuck up. Some people who are not stuck up but just work hard get put down a bit as well. How standard Australian English is afforded significantly more prestige than ethnolex. Yes, but how does our language use? Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, you can actually do that. You can do standard Australian English. The context it's used in reveals that standard norm, and being like dominantly Australian is more. Yeah, you can do that. That's actually a really good idea. Thank you, Quack Mister. So we can do SAE. Yes, we have 1 paragraph. Yay. When Aussies say ScoMo, Gladdy, and bring down people because it's the same level morphologically. Yes. A couple problems with that. Gladdy, I guess so. ScoMo, the dude likes the name. It's not really us bringing him down. Yeah, he actually quite enjoys it. It's more sort of the friendliness of Australia, even though Prime Minister sort of has his own nickname, and makes him more friendly and appealing to the public as well. Closer social distance. Not so bringing us down, but much more so like making us closer. Whereas Gladdy, if it's like more derogatory, then I guess so. Can you do a stream based on Ransom the Queen? I'm probably not before the actual exam. I think I'll do one more stream, and it'll probably be a general, just talking stream with a couple of my friends and you guys. I do have like a lot of Ransom the Queen videos. I've made a lot of videos for the comparative, so please check those out. Cool. All right. So, yeah, I'll probably pick topic 1. It has the most possibilities, and I'm most confident in the paragraphs being on topic. Plus, my paragraphs are good as well. So I'll show you a topic I wrote similar to face needs, but I'd like to really enhance one thing to you guys. emphasize one thing to you guys. Let me just fix my, oh my goodness, so annoying. All right, I think you guys can see this now. Essentially, you got to tie everything into topic. I had practice paragraphs, great, but you got to make sure it's on topic. For something like jargon, right, I didn't really focus much on face needs. What I focused a lot on jargon. So what do you guys think of the functions of jargon, actually? Drop it in the chat. What are some functions of jargon? List a couple. Also, once again, if I hit 1.99K, please let me know. Yeah, I'd be interested. Because we'd be jealous of efficiency in communication, clarify, obfuscate, group membership. Good. Economy of register because you're more concise. Yeah, I don't think economy of register means being more concise. That doesn't really make sense. I don't think register is that related to it. Economy of communication, probably. Establish expertise, but I doubt you do an essay on it. Efficiency in communication, group membership, authority, expertise. Excellent. So the point here, I'll ask you guys some really good questions on jargon after this to really extend your thinking. So be prepared. But yeah, so usually you see jargon's not really that big of a deal with face needs. You kind of see that. Like, I don't really care about it in face needs, or I didn't really think about it when I prepared my paragraph. But here, if I use it, I got to really highlight that. So rather than highlighting, rather than just saying it's used for ease of communication within a community, I really have to acknowledge and compare that with the fact that it's also offends the face needs of people who don't understand. And I'll probably acknowledge the difference. I'd say, oftentimes for people who are not within the group, they don't understand the jargon of, so I used swimming, things like, tumble turn, dolphin kick, scat. They don't know what that means. However, it's arguably, in order to communicate successfully, we require sort of this language to come at the cost of other people's face needs, so it can enhance communication within a certain group. I would not have written those exact words in my practice paragraph, but you would have to do that here. I can't stress enough, if you take one thing out of, actually, I hate people who say that. Please remember to be flexible to the topic. Be flexible to the topic. Be flexible, like chant that in your sleep. Please be flexible to the topic. Same with slang. With slang, I often focus on the playfulness aspect of it, not really face needs. But you can say, older people don't understand it. People who didn't come up with it don't understand it. And you've probably heard it at school, right? When some of your friends or people use language you don't understand, you're like, what the heck? Like, what does that mean? And you feel out of place. But it's sort of, you can argue that the difference between slang and jargon is slang's oftentimes used to challenge face needs. It's not really to communicate it successfully, whereas jargon is more necessary for successful communication. Same with taboo. Taboo, I focused also a lot on sort of exasperation, being really frustrated or being very happy, sort of in the extremes of emotions. I wouldn't really talk about that here. Right? I'd probably mention one sentence, probably 0 sentences on that because it's irrelevant to topic. And you got to be prepared to do that. Be flexible. Be prepared to sort of adapt it to the topic. All right, please make sure you understand that point. All right. Couple questions on jargon. What's the difference between jargon used in swimming and jargon used in, say, gaming? So jargon used in sport versus jargon used in gaming, especially swimming, things like tumble turn, dolphin kick. What do you think the difference is? Usually I have 2 examples per body paragraph, and I would acknowledge a difference between those 2 examples. So what do you guys think is the difference between the jargon I would expect to see in gaming and the jargon I would expect to see in swimming? Evan, hello. Yes, this will be accessible. All my lives go up on my YouTube afterwards. Different fields, yeah, that's sort of like that basic one. You can sort of use that, right? Both, while jargon can be used in sports, it's also commonly used in gaming. Excellent. More. I want more from you guys. What's a more meta language difference between the two? It's really challenging you guys here, and I understand that, but that's what we're here to do. I'll give you guys a clue. Okay. Yes, Kelly. Excellent, excellent, excellent job. In swimming, the jargon would likely be more formal. Not really more formal, actually. It's more so used for clarity of communication. The way they change is slightly different. For swimming, it doesn't really need to be that concise, right? In training, I say, okay, let's do 6 dolphin kicks off each wall. Cool. But in gaming, I don't play games like a ton, but it's like very fast paced. You need to be able to communicate really, really quickly. So excellent. Shortenings, blends, initialisms, acronyms. You would see this everywhere because you got to be able to say like, okay, one example I used was ulting. So I'm going to ult this guy, right? You wouldn't say, okay, I'm about to use my ultimate ability on this guy because by the time you said that, the guy's probably escaped. Whereas for swimming, it doesn't matter as much. Let me find something. Okay, what do you think the difference with wine jargon is? Or car jargon? You know, when you go to the car dealership, they're like, okay, this is like 2 twin turbo V6 8 9 2000 hertz, like whatever. They sort of tell that to you. What do you think is the difference between that and sort of wine jargon, car jargon, compared with swimming jargon and compared with gaming jargon? Ian, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I would say, yeah, swimming jargon is more established. It's been around for a long time. Whereas gaming jargon, you could say more jargon's getting added as it goes because it's relatively new. That's fine. Excellent, Matthew. Thanks for that example. I guess you could probably quote that if in your essays, right? You know, Matthew Bannon in Darren Tan's stream said 2020, 16th of October, I think the date is. Ben, excellent work. Exactly. The difference between that jargon is it's not so much clarity of communication. Yeah, no, I don't know much about car jargon. That was the best imitation I could come up with. The point with car jargon is it's often used to show off. It's also kind of authoritative, like showing that they're smart and showing, like conveying you information. But how much of that do I understand? Not much of it. It's more so to present the object as really, really cool. Chess jargon? I don't know much chess jargon. I played chess, but I don't know what does that mean. What's some jargon used in chess? Like checkmate. I think that's probably more just having an accepted norm. But anyway, okay, we'll look at my essay now. No, it's fine. You guys don't have to just answer my questions. If you have questions, feel free to ask. So Joseph said, sorry, this isn't. How do you draw the line between slang and jargon? Oh, okay, I see what you mean. That's a good question. I would say slang is not really unique to a field most of the time, I would argue. It's more unique to like an age group or a people. Usually if it's like unique to a specific field, I would say it's jargon. Yeah, but that's a really good question you brought up. En passant, stalemate. Yeah, I mean that's like no, stalemate's like how do I say it? It has a specific meaning. Well, it has the same meaning everywhere. It's used in like everyday life as well. En passant, I forgot what that is. Is that when your pawn like moves behind like another pawn and it like takes it or something? But yeah, that's like sort of a norm without chess players. And I think it's quite nice, right? If you say en passant, you sound cool and sort of shares solidarity. Not really showing off, I would say. I guess a little bit. All right, where's my essay gone? Here it is. So, actually, I'll show you guys something important. So remember I was talking about adapting to topics. So remember our first topic is about face needs. Let's go to... Okay, why is this blurry as heck? Okay, it's good now. Yeah, actually, these ones all have face needs in them, so I could probably use them. There's no difficulty there. We'll look at this essay. This essay is on face needs, but it's slightly different to the topic in the exam. So upholding your own face needs comes at the cost of others. If you guys want to have a read of this, go ahead. So essentially what I did was... let me see. Any questions? En passant is like code switching sort of, isn't it? French? Yeah, good. What examples would you focus on for euphemisms? All right, my teacher like repeated this, so it's kind of stuck in my head. But the topics people are like fearful of or sensitive about are the big three. sex, bodily fluids, death. That's the big three. Also like body size and stuff as well, but that was the big three my teacher really drilled into me. And so you would find euphemisms around those. Would you focus on for euphemisms? Yeah. And so, look, you can go for the classic ones, passed away, but you want to find a real world example and sort of context. So maybe a celebrity who's died away. So adding more to that simple example. I found a good one by Isaac Butterfield called Meet Their Maker, which is also a euphemism. Quite nice. Also, yeah, so try and find some original euphemisms. If you can't, a classic one, but with like a solid example works as well. Would you actually have IPA symbols? Yes, I did for some paragraphs. So for regional variation, a paragraph I prepared, I did. For Aussie English, I did. I had brother and I had the phonetic, like the IPA next to it, where you don't have the R, so the non-rhotic R. Joseph Shim, E4, E5. Yeah, I think en passant is borrowing. Yeah, it's probably borrowing, I guess, because you're not actually switching to that language. It's more so we just know it. Whereas code switching is you like legitimately switch to converse in that language. Thanks to the guys who've stuck around for so long, by the way. I think Matthew, Tryhard, Joseph, Kelly's been around for a little while as well. Naz has been a while. But yeah, some of you guys have been here from the start, so I really appreciate it. All right, so upholding your own face needs come at the cost of others. Your first sentence really has to attach to face needs. Okay, out of battery again. But it has to apply to face needs. You can't just say, language is a all-encompassing tool that we manipulate to our advantage. Like that's completely irrelevant to the topic. You need to talk about whether it comes at the cost of others. You need to mention face needs. Tall poppy syndrome, right? Expletives taboo, and then I talk about PC language in my loss body paragraph. No, thank you, Matthew. I'm really enjoying this, sort of asking you guys questions, and thanks for contributing, all of you, to the chat. All right. Nothing much to say about the intro. Here, I've sort of gone through this, I'm pretty sure, in a YouTube video where I talked about exemplary essays. But essentially, I sort of have two examples. When I say two examples, it can be sort of swimming, I have 4 examples there, and gaming, I have 4 examples there. Those are sort of small examples. Sometimes you have a massive example, something like coon cheese, right? That one, you can probably just focus on it because it's sort of just by itself. Whereas something like jargon, you can find 3 or 4 for one field. So here I have Karen. So if you guys remember the Karen, I think it's still kind of a thing now, but it's much more a thing last year. And then, whoops, I went a bit far with this one. Yeah, so we have Karen up to about here. And then like I was saying before, we have flex and sweat. So they sort of contribute to the same thing. So I sort of count them as one moment. While the tall poppy syndrome remains embedded in the Australian psyche, other times pejoratives are employed as a very Australian way of fostering solidarity. I'm going to go through the main points of this piece because like the direct content, like I have another video on it, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer it. Sort of some key small things, small details to improve on. Have topic sentences that build upon one another. First sentence, I talk about tall poppy syndrome. Second sentence, I acknowledge that. While the tall poppy syndrome remained embedded in the Australian psyche, other times pejoratives are employed as a very Australian way of fostering inclusivity. And if we look at my next paragraph, lately, greater importance has been placed on catering face needs, especially that of minorities, a shift which does not come at the cost of one's own face needs. So I'm sort of really addressing the question. My contention is that sometimes for things like PC language, upholding your own face needs doesn't really come at the cost of another person's face needs. Cool. So main thing, acknowledge previous body paragraph. Coolio. Okay. Challenging negative face needs and positive face needs, kind of both. And the reason I would say it's challenging negative, because by sort of like I sort of said, suppresses their individuality, right? They want to stand out. They want to work hard and be different from other people. That's negative face needs. The need to be different from others, and the need to be your own person. But they get put down for that, which is why I say challenging negative face needs. Does that answer your question? Naz, do you have any tips for writing a strong introduction? You can answer this later. Bro, I legit use the same examples. Oh, legit, Brendan? That's pretty cool. And thanks for sticking around as well, Brendan. Even though you've graduated. and I study medicine. Yeah, so do you have any tips for writing a strong introduction? My tips are to have a simple structure, but sort of good language. So simple structure, but good sentence construction. So my structure is pretty simple. I have sort of this opening sentence, right? And then I introduce each thing sort of one by one. Let's switch to red here. So I have tall poppy syndrome, right? I have this pejorative expressions thing, and then I have this. But then I sort of expand upon which part where it's necessary. Here I sort of address the question, which I do advise you guys to do. I sort of mentioned that. I'll move this actually. I'll move this a bit lower. Yeah. So here I address the question. I sort of acknowledge that the tension, the main debate in this question is my face needs. Do they come at the cost of someone else's face needs? That's the real tension here, and I acknowledge that. I say that I don't really think so. In particular with PC language. It's not like it's costing me a lot to say police officer instead of policewoman, instead of policeman. Yeah. So, and good sentence construction means like if you read my sentences, they read really nicely. Right, and they're not convoluted. They may be long, but they're not convoluted. These two are often quite distinct concepts, and catering to the feelings of another person rarely imposes upon our own face needs. That's a long sentence, but it sort of finishes one part here, and the next part is very clear. Right? You want to make sure your sentences are really understandable, and you want to make sure your piece is coherent before you start analyzing the coherence of of other pieces. Cool. Hopefully that's helped your question, Naz. Yeah, true. It's saying they can't work hard. Yeah, good, Jess. Any tips on how to incorporate the stimulus smoothly into your essay? Now, let's see if I've done it here. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure this is just a generic essay. I'll go to this paragraph in case you guys want to have a read of it. Some couple quotes you guys can use. You can use here, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, by the way. Here. So I'm saying here, you can use this for sort of something on community attitudes. I wouldn't say it's that appropriate for face needs, but I sort of squeezed it in. You can say it's sort of saying that language represents thoughts and may even control it. It's saying we sort of use language to change ourselves, right? You know how people tell you to sort of use positive language, like I can do this, I am powerful, I am, to repeat that. That's sort of tying into this idea. Also, Sapir-Whorf are two separate people. I'm pretty sure I had to write Sapir and Whorf's hypothesis. My teacher corrected me. Like they're two different people. I was answering a question. Any tips on how to incorporate stimulus? Yeah, my bad. I got sidetracked. Yeah, stimulus, try and find one that sort of ties in with what you're saying. For example, let's do it right now, actually. So let's have a look at the PC one earlier. So here we have that stimulus on PC language, right? Changing Happy Christmas to Happy Holidays is probably an overreaction. So you can even just mention it, right? So the changing of, so keep that in mind. Happy Christmas to Happy Holidays. That's probably the only part. We tiptoe, whatever. I don't really care about the rest of it. You can sort of use it if you want to be more specific to stimulus. If their ideas tie in, but you find something that ties in with your paragraph. So I have a paragraph on PC that I'm going to use here. And so I'm going to use this stimulus. Happy Christmas to Happy Holidays. So I'd say something, oh shoot. Oh my goodness. Keeps happening. Oh, look at it here actually. My bad. What was the stimulus? Was it stimulus B, A, B, D? Okay, stimulus D. Cool. Okay, it's buffering, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, I would sort of mention the stimulus. It's usually for weaker students if you rely on it, but I would say for you sort of just say like, okay, good, it's loaded. I think this one was PC. Oh, PC is the last one to load, of course. Yeah. So, yeah. So you can sort of add a sentence here. Add a sentence here. I don't know. You guys can't see my arrow, can you? I'll type it in. Here. Yeah, here. Right, because what's happy holidays to happy Easter to happy holidays or whatever? That's kind of like appeasing sort of minorities, right? Similar to Redskins. It's not so much this part, sort of appeasing gender stereotypes. So I'd probably shove it in here, where I've done the arrow, and I would say this idea of catering to minorities. I'll write this. This idea. This idea of catering. And if we were doing the face needs topic, we'll write face needs. Face needs. We can say positive. No, I'd say negative or positive. What would you guys think? They need to be individual. No, I think it's a positive actually, because it's me saying happy holidays doesn't really pay respect to who they are. The idea of catering to positive face needs, catering to the positive face needs of minorities, is reflected in stimulus E. Is reflected in stimulus D's example of changing happy Easter to happy holidays. That's fine. I quite like using the stimulus to sort of support your point and make it stronger. If you want to quote the ideas behind it, because I'm pretty sure stimulus D was more complex than this. Let's have a look. Banning hugs, more than you can talk about the attitudes towards political correctness. Just as Nestle, so for example, I hit here, what was it? Just as Nestle realizes that it's out of step with Australian values, so should a stimulus D acknowledge that in an attempt to don't look as though we're racist, they use language like this. You can even tie this into Sapir and Worf's hypothesis, right? Language controls thought and represents thought, may even control thought. That's why, you said this idea is reflected. I'll write this. So this idea is reflected. This sentiment resonates. Actually, I'll probably make it more clearer. The sentiment, the possibility that our language represents our thoughts. Stimulus D's idea that, that we tiptoe around the asylum seeker. I'll just write this and then I'll switch back to the screen. Tiptoe around the asylum seeker debate so that we don't look racist. Yeah. Or you can sort of say we use certain language so that we don't look racist, right? Because we don't want to, our language represents our thought. Therefore, if we use racist language or language that has a possibility to be racist, we might seem racist. And that's a really real fear in stimulus D, which is why, and that sort of resonates with our hypothesis. Does that help, Ian? Nicholas, what was your time splitting in the exam? So let me write this down. I'm pretty sure I've covered this in a video. If you guys remember, then drop it. I'd be pretty interested to hear if you guys remember, but I doubt it. So, all right. So time splits. All right. Also, I'm curious to see what you guys do. So drop in the chat what you think, how you split your time. I'd be very interested to hear. But essentially, so write time, read time. So 40 AC, 20 short answer, 60 essay. 5 SA plus SA. 10 AC. That's how I split my time. Joseph, kind of funny, they turn Redskins to Red Rippers. Wow, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, not all of these changes are the most successful things I've ever seen, honestly. So essentially, it is okay to just briefly mention or shove in the stimulus, and it doesn't need to act as a thrust to support your main contention. You don't need to put it in each paragraph. Just mention it once. It's honestly for weaker students who don't have any examples. They use stimulus then. But for you guys, well, I don't know your exact ability. I don't want to give you like false confidence, but you seem like fairly on top of it. You just need to mention it once and sort of slide it into your argument and mention the stimulus ABCD, because if you don't talk about it that much, then it's sort of easy to forget about, like easy for the examiner to miss. Good Nas, you sort of learnt from what I've taught you. Essay 60, yeah, and I'd flip AC in short answer. Matthew, I've seen VCAR exam reports saying that an excellent inclusion of stimulus was as seen. Yeah, well, that's essentially what I did. Maybe VCAR saw my essay and took that. No, I'm joking. So yeah, if you have any questions, we're basically done. In terms of like this exam, well, we are done. Look, what was the main takeaway I want you guys to take away from this with the essay? Could you please put in the chat? I'd really appreciate if you remember it. Like, this is so, so, so important. I really hope you guys don't miss this. What was the thing I told you to not forget? After reading, I quickly jot down my ideas for essay/AC. 4 minutes. Short answer 2025 AC. Planning 8 minutes. What? Do you mean 40? Yeah, you mean 40, right? For the AC. 4-ish. 4 minutes right in the AC. Quickly jot down my ideas. Yeah, that's definitely a good example. Oh yeah, for ACs. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. In ACs, the moment writing time starts, I circle stuff in the stimulus. In the like AC text immediately. Especially the polysyllabic lexemes normalizations, which took me a little while to find in reading time. Short answer 2025, yeah, that's fine. How long do you spend on your essay? Essay 40? Look, if you can write a good essay in 40, then I guess that's enough for you. Your time also doesn't add up. Oh, okay, I guess you want a lot of time at the end to check. Yeah. I would say though, checking is not so useful for English. Particularly because if you add stuff, it's messy. It'd probably be helpful for short answer if you can't do a question or grammatical stuff, but I don't think you need to leave a ton of time. Yeah. If you're writing enough and getting good marks, then stick with that timing. It looks like if it's working for you, Joseph, and you've practiced it over all the practice exams you've done. Matthew, yes, thank you. Chaps, thank you. Matthew, thank you. Try hard, thank you. Nas, thank you. Joseph, cool. Matthew, yes. You can remember his simile if you want. Please make sure you are flexible. All right. I don't care if you've written the best sentence in the world in your practice topic. If it doesn't fit, don't write it. How did you spend reading time for the AC? Is it good to have an idea what the social purpose? Yeah, exactly. So I'll just write that again. We'll go back to this. Where was my pen? Oh, here. So here I would essentially read text, write intro in head. So that includes identifying all the sort of techniques and stuff, like cramps, register, audience, all that kind of thing, and sort of find my main ones. So you guys should sort of have main techniques that you look to. Right, for me, normalizations, polysyllabic lexemes. I repeat this like tons of times to my students, but even so, I would still remember it. It was such a core part of English. For informative things like declaratives, modal verbs, right? These are sort of the ones you can find in every piece. When I write an AC, if I get a formal piece, I see normalizations, I see polysyllabic lexemes, I see an agentless passive, I'm happy, right? I know I can write like half my paragraph, half my paragraph, and it'll be a good half straight away, easily, and that will give me confidence. Oh, okay. I see, Joseph. Usually adds up. Wait, so if you spend 40 on the essay, 40 on the short AC, and then 20 minutes on the short answer, do you just have like randomly like 20 minutes? Oh, okay, your AC takes me a long time. Yeah, that's understandable. It's good. You should adapt to what you need. For me, I was really good at thinking like quickly. I could look at something and analyze it really quickly and like do it continuously and keep writing that whole AC time. So I could do it quickly. And took me more time for the essay, but definitely do the way that maximizes your marks. Let me think about another question to ask you guys. I want to sort of challenge you on whether you can actually be flexible or not. Uh, yeah, I spend basically the reading time looking at the AC, and afterwards, as I look at the AC, as I write, I find more and more techniques for me. Yeah, 25 for short answer, I guess. Short answer, my philosophy was I just don't want to lose too many marks here. It's not really where you grab your big marks. Like, really AC and short answer, AC and essays where people separate. Do you use the meta language only formal text? What do you do for informal register? So informal register, you just find your colloquialisms, you find, like, informal ones pretty obvious, right? Normalizations, I sort of have to go searching for them. Informal, you usually see a word and you're like, that's informal, which is why, like, it's a bit easier. Colloquialisms, shortenings, blends, that kind of thing. No, no, Joseph, I don't. Yeah, I don't. So I just go straight into my AC. When I get to the essay, I start planning my essay and thinking about it. Because, like, yeah, I don't want to spend too much time planning. And in reading time, what happened in the 2020 exam was the topic, I kind of knew what topic, like, I kind of knew the topic and how I could write on it. So I didn't really need that much planning time. But if it's a difficult topic, then I would still say, like, as you do your AC and short answer and stuff, your brain will just be working on it. I wouldn't say spend time on it because you'll probably get stressed and sort of spend more time. It's much better getting stuff done and then thinking to yourself, okay, I have an hour left. Let me spend this all on the essay or 40 minutes or whatever. Predictions? I don't know. I don't. Okay. If you wanted me to predict, I guess maybe a formal spoken, I guess, and maybe a what do you call it? An informal written, maybe. Those are my guesses. All right. I had a good question. What was I going to ask? TeenSpeak is. Yeah, also have contentions about different stuff. Like TeenSpeak, what's the contention behind that? And that kind of thing. Yeah, right. No, I'll just ask you guys this. What are your contentions about TeenSpeak? What do you think it does? What do you think it reflects? What do you think is like the idea of TeenSpeak? And then there's sort of a follow-up question to this. Sadara, yeah, if I pronounce your name wrong, my bad. Do you recommend Inglang or English? You're asking it in the wrong stream. I'm pretty sure everyone here would suggest you do Inglang. It really depends on your strengths. Generally, people who are not good at English do Inglang. That's generally the case. People who are good at maths and people who don't really like writing long-winded essays. And I would say more specifically, if you find it difficult to analyze like life things, like destruction, and sort of philosophical things like hope, and especially if you've been struggling up until like year 10, then I would suggest probably doing Inglang. Identity excludes older people, build solidarity between users of TeenSpeak. Good, yeah. So, also, unique identity, yeah. So what kind of identity? I want you guys to give me some more adjectives. What kind of identity of young people does TeenSpeak portray? Yeah, and I agree with Brendan. The English language, the textbooks are like, alright. I think there's an orange, I think the green one, Living Lingo, is okay. The one where they have like practice questions and practice answers, that's quite nice. The orange one's good for clarifying meta language you don't know. You don't need to search it up. But I genuinely didn't use them that much. I agree, Brendan. Yeah, I'd like you guys to give me some more adjectives. So what kind of identity does TeenSpeak allow young speakers to make? Also, another thing, if you're looking for quotes from linguists and stuff, search up like linguist quotes. And I'm pretty sure there's like a Quizlet. The one I used, I just looked in the Quizlet and just scrolled through and found good quotes. Casual, laid back, good, good, good. Yeah. Also, what else? Also creative, right? Teenagers are trying to seem different and seem creative and seem edgy, and so they create language. Also, English language is just one big stereotype. Honestly, it stereotypes everything. Stereotypes like age groups, people in different fields. It stereotypes Australians. It's like pretty funny, but like I feel like it's low key a bit outdated, but I enjoy it. Anti-authority, yeah, good. Sort of isolates the older people. Quirky, good, good, good. So in the essay topic we were looking about, what we were looking at. So the essay topic, I said I would write on about where I would write PC, euphemisms, Aussie English. What part of TeenSpeak would I focus on? So we have different aspects, remember, different contentions. It reflects casual, laid back. It ostracizes. Creative word formation. Yeah, I meant like what contention. So TeenSpeak serves a lot of purposes. What specific purpose would we focus on for that first essay topic? Okay, slang isn't really a contention of TeenSpeak, but yeah. Valence, hello. Unrelated note, how's Monash going? I'm enjoying semester 2 so much better than semester 1. And thank you for asking, by the way. Yeah, it's so much better. Like, I enjoy the content so much more. And it's so much more practical, and we learn more, like, interesting things. Semester 1 was a whole bunch of bio, and a lot of people had learnt it, and I hadn't, and it's just a pain. Yeah, good work, Matt, by the way. You've contributed a lot. I really appreciate it. So what we would focus on would be the face needs part, right? So ostracizing others. We would sort of compare that ostracizing others with communicating effectively, but we would argue that, TeenSpeak isn't that necessary for communicating effectively. Remember our contentions. None of our contentions for TeenSpeak are that it communicates effectively. It's more so for isolating others and challenging face needs to make ourselves seem more special. Yeah. Yeah. Not try hard, sort of. Yeah. I'll talk about that as well. So essentially, what you need to focus on in this is the face needs aspect. Thank you guys, Matthew, Chups, try hard. You guys have been amazing. Naz as well, and Ben if he's still here, and Joseph. Yeah, you guys have been really good, and I understand that you might be tired. The questions I'm asking you are like good questions that will extend you, and sort of help you as well. So you can adapt to different essay topics. But yeah, thank you guys for contributing. So yeah, I'm happy to end the stream like 11:10, 11:15. So if you want any general questions, feel free to pop it in the chat. Yeah, so you guys can ask me questions rather than me asking you guys questions. Sarah, yes, I do tutor Inglang, and I plan to tutor Inglang next year as well. Oh yeah, so if you know people, like, feel free to refer them to me. I'd appreciate it. And I'll just leave this page on my essay in case you guys wanted to have a read. Oh yeah, one last thing on conclusions. I didn't really mention them. With conclusions, I sort of just read it. It's quite nice. You just got to make it nice. Summarize briefly, but just make it like an extension of the topic. Make it make Ing Lang seem like, well, it is. Like it's pretty amazing, right? It's just the English language as a whole. It's this living, breathing thing that humans have created. And I think your conclusion should sort of reflect the magnitude and the beauty of that. Yeah, try hard. I do know what marks I got for Ing Lang. Do you guys want to guess? So short answer was out of 15. I've mentioned this in my video. So if you know, like, don't say it, right? If you like know for sure. So short answer was out of 15. The other ones are out of 30. What do you think I got for each section? I'm not gonna be offended or compliment. Oh, I'll be complimented if you. I don't know. I don't really care. But yeah, just have a guess. Can you share your Ing Lang marks and study score? Yeah, that's what I'm doing. They're full marks. No, try hard. You are so close. You are so incredibly close. Yeah, so I got 13, 28, 28. Those were my scores. That's an excellent guess. So I ended up with a 69. Chop chops, those are the scores no, if I got that, I would have gotten a 50. I got that on a trial exam, actually. I got 73 for a trial exam. NAS as well. So I didn't get a 50. If I got those scores, I would have gotten a 50 and probably a Premier's Award as well. I did get 73 on a trial exam, but not on my actual exam. Ian, close. I got 13, 28, 28. I should have gotten some 30s or a 29 for my AC and essay. My AC was the best one I'd ever written, and the examiners were a bit stingy. Joseph, what did you say? I'll be honest, I would never link TeamSpeak to face needs. I just don't have evidence. I link to excluding older people, but not face. I mean, excluding older people is face, right? TeamSpeak is not really communicating effectively, but it's sort of just attacking the positive face needs of other people. So I think inherently any TeamSpeak example you have is kind of face needs. And the distinction here is that you would say it's not really catering to our own face needs. So for example, this topic I'm looking at here, upholding your face needs comes at the cost of others. You would say that it's true for TeamSpeak. People choose to uphold their own face needs. Oh, not really. Yeah, I guess you would say that it's not really upholding face needs. You wouldn't use it for this topic. You'd say TeamSpeak is sort of purposefully attacking others just to seem different. Maybe upholding your own negative face needs. Yeah, I'd say upholding the teenager's negative face needs comes at the cost of other people's positive face needs. That was quite convoluted, my bad, but hopefully it's clear. Yeah, it's possible to get 29. You just get 114 and a 15. So two people mark your thing and they give you scores out of 15. Right, so one person gives you 14, one person gives you 15. I should have gone 15. Like, if the examiner who corrected my work can have a chat with me, I'd much appreciate that. But, some people, same with orals as well. Some people don't believe in giving like 100 or 99. But some people are very happy to give 99 100s. There's a bit of discrepancy there. Did you get 100s on most of your sacks? No, I was ranked 2. I was ranked 1 until the last sack. What did I get? Short answer, I got like 22 and 23. So they were out of 25. First one I got 22, second one I got 23. AC, I got 48. Essay, I got like 48 and like 47. Oh no, 48 and like 45 or something. Yeah. My last essay wasn't that good because I didn't have a paragraph prepared. So I had to like pull out some stuffs, which cost me a little bit. Diverting away from Ing Lang, ill. Frank, that was not the correct thing to say here. How do you analyze faster for analyzing language, argument, and language analysis? People in Lang could probably help you with that. Now, how do you analyze faster? Write about intended effect. I think like just whatever you think, put it in words. If you're explaining it to a kid, put it in words, right? This seeks to build rapport with the audience so that they feel closer with her. So like, don't try and find the best phrasing or the perfect words to use. Just legitimately just say it. Say it in quite normal terms. Add a couple fancy words if you want to. But that's how you write well here. And write faster. So don't be like perfectionist about what words you write. Did anyone get 50 in Ing Lang in your year? No. Yeah, I got 49, second highest got 47, and then 44, and then sort of low 40s. I would have liked to get a 50. I was curious, if I got a 50, which one would be my top 4, English or Ing Lang? Because it would have been the same, I think. But yeah, it didn't happen. How are you guys feeling for the exam? Also, like, don't worry about scores and all that kind of thing. Like, just really focus on doing the exam. Don't think about, this exam score, that exam score, whatever. Think about that afterwards. Best way to identify social purpose. Croc Mister, you've been contributing to the chat. I'm not sure what you're doing saying this now. Queenie, best way to identify social purpose. So, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there are social purposes on the study design. I did not know that until this year. I did not know that for the entirety of VC Ing Lang, which was just 1 year, honestly, for me. But still, I didn't know there were such things. And some people have, told me that, Darren, you can't write social purposes that are not on the study design. And I said, I didn't know it was on the study design. But I think they're a good guide in terms of like a checklist to go through to see if it's applicable to the text you're looking at. So if you can't think of anything, sort of go through it I don't remember. Maybe one's like building rapport. You're like, does this text build rapport? But the best way to identify social purpose, the way I thought about it, I could sort of identify it straight away. But a way to really think about it is social purpose is often presenting something or someone a certain way. Let me say that again. Social purpose is often the person writing trying to present something or someone a certain way. Okay. If you think about it, the text we were looking at was trying to present Australia a certain way. Sometimes social purpose is trying to present myself a certain way, as authoritative or friendly. It can be presenting a product a certain way, a city, an experience, a person. So I think using that framework and sort of thinking about what's the underlying reason for writing this will help you. I don't think it covers like every social purpose, like every text, but 99% of them is presenting something or someone a certain way. Another mantra you should chant in your sleep. If you had looked in the Orange Book, you would see the social purpose. Yeah, I mean, did I use them that much? Not really. Do you think Inglang or English was easier or more fun? Equally fun. Inglang was easier. I spent far less effort in Inglang than I did in English. Which like was because I was good at it, right? It was like I reached a really high level already. And I didn't have to do much after that. Whereas with English, like I feel like once you reach a really high level, you can keep planning, keep finding more topics and stuff, and like keep finding more analysis. And you got to practice a lot. Whereas with Inglang, I feel like it's harder to forget. Like once you get to a really high level for ACs, firstly, like writing more ACs doesn't help that much as long as you've covered informal, formal, written, spoken, right? But there are some nuance to social purposes. I acknowledge that. But I would say once you reach a certain style, it's sort of fine. You hit 1.99k. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Frank. I will check how many subscribers I have exactly. If we hit 2k on this stream is actually goated. Joe, recommend lit. Oh, Joe, are you Joe that I know? I don't remember what your icon is. Do I recommend lit? I think lit's an extremely good subject. I feel like it's a really cool subject. I would say it's difficult to do well, and it's variable to do well. Like a lot of my friends who are extremely smart, like how do I say it? The person you think gets a 50 doesn't get a 50, right? The person you think gets like a 45, 46, 47, 48 might get a 50. Like it's a bit more variable like that, in my opinion. Joyce, sorry, totally random, but do you have tips for the Latin essay? Joyce, feel free to message me about Latin. I'd be very happy to answer questions and share stuff about Latin. Tips for the Latin essay. I would say make sure you have a knowledge of the major moments of the Aeneid. So in book 4, I think that's the Dido one, you know, like what happens with Dido. She sort of once is shot like a deer. She is in love with Aeneas. What happens in book like 10, maybe they travel down the river, they fight. So know the major moments that are relevant to themes in the book you're studying. I think it's book 2. And yeah, that's basically it. And be able to link them to that. If you want to extend yourself, memorize a couple lines in Latin and their translations. Not entirely necessary. The biggest point here is to have knowledge of the pertinent moments and pertinent moments that are relevant to themes in your book. And be able to analyze about what they say about fate, what they say about Juno and Jupiter, what they say about Aeneas as a person. Yeah, but definitely feel free to message me. I'm very, very happy to talk about Latin. English is the best English. I guess I kind of agree. I mean, I got the best score in it, and I quite like it. It has a bit of everything, I feel like. I'm doing 1-2 Inglang right now, and I have trouble remembering meta language. How do I get better? I'm worried I won't be able to remember and do good next year. So, Helena, what I recommend is I don't think there's that many meta language in 1-2, right? Or unless your school's making you do them. Do something like Quizlet. Quizlet will help you. Something like Anki, like flashcards will really help you. But also just do a lot of questions, because through doing questions, you'll have to apply a lot of them. And also, I feel like most of them are pretty straightforward, like declaratives, metaphor, like the things you know, right? Some of the harder ones, though, maybe make flashcards for them. Queenie, figure out what contemporary examples to remember for the exam. So I arranged them under meta language. From what I gather from other guys, that's what they're doing as well. So PC language, jargon, slang, all those things on the study design, those common meta language things that you see, you find contemporary examples under those. Find like decent ones that you know not many people will pick, or they're like juicy. For example, like I had one called alting, right? Alting is a shortening from ultimate to alt, and then a conversion of word class from alt to alting, from a noun to a verb. So those like complex styles are quite good. Could you say something in Latin? Salve, meos, amicus est, Horatius. Yeah, there's no such thing as speaking Latin right now. But yeah, that was some Latin. Did you have a go in AC structure, or did you change it depending on what was salient in the text? Yeah, I had a go to AC structure. So register, social purpose, function, register, social purpose. No. Register, function, social purpose, coherence, cohesion for written. Register, function, social purpose, and random stuff for spoken. So things like topic management, relationships, non-spontaneity. You sort of pick. What are some key tips for 3/4 ing lane? That's such a broad question. Key tips: learn your meta language, all right, and be able to apply it, and be able to explain things specifically to the context that they're in. Dude, don't tell me you play MOBAs. What's MOBAs? Yeah, I don't know what that is. No, Unit 1 is all the meta language you need. No, Unit 1 doesn't have all the meta language. I'm pretty sure I checked. It doesn't have like some things that are in Unit 3. Vacuo doesn't have 2 C's, I'm pretty sure, unless that's a different verb. Ian, what would your tactic be? Give me a second. I just need to check something. Cool. All right. What would your tactic be if all 3 of the essay topics are ones that you don't know how to tackle? Would you try to phrase your paragraphs to match the essay topics, even if it sounds a bit off? Well, I mean, yeah, if you genuinely have nothing possible you can write, you would find the most similar essay topics, especially ones that are resonated with things in the stimulus, and then just use those, and try and apply it to the essay topic to the best of your ability. Like, there's nothing else you can do in that scenario. Give me a second. I'm just checking up on a student. His message. Yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll end the stream at 11:20 now, I guess. Sort of we've moved backwards from there. General prep, Ing-Lang, anything that you would like to ask? Let me check whether we're... Yeah, in case you guys are curious, we are 6 subscribers away from 2,000, which is extremely, extremely amazing. And thank you guys very, very much for subscribing. I'm not sure whether we'll hit it in this stream. I'll be very happy if we do. But yeah, I don't know. All right. I'm not too concerned. Can you please do a live for general, like League and Dota? Oh, no, I don't play those games. I play Wild Rift on the phone. Yeah. Nadara, yeah, can you please do a live for general English? I did, actually. You can check it out. It's on my channel. It's called With Alex. It's like going through an English exam breakdown with Alex. Hey, what are spoken discourse features? Spoken discourse features is on the study design. It's things like prosodics, topic management, turn taking, non-fluency features. Under discourse, and then there's like written discourse, so coherence, cohesion, and then there's spoken discourse. So everything in there is free game for spoken discourse. Thank you, Matthew. Ian, how long did it take for you to flesh out your social purpose? Did you think about it in depth during the exam? No, usually it's quite obvious to me. Like for example, the one that we just looked at, it was quite obvious to me that he was trying to present Australia in a positive light. Maybe I'm just skeptical, but like, I guess from practice, presenting something a certain way, right? And also, I sort of have an idea of a social purpose in mind, and then you sort of look if there are examples to support it. If you find that a lot of examples support it, then it's probably your social purpose. Thank you, Matthew, again. That's 6 people. How did you memorize your quotes? How many essays or so you can write down like jargon, slang, and then from memory try and write down the quotes, the 2 examples you have and the 2 dates and the context. We need special maths exam too. Okay, I'm planning to do a multiple choice. I don't know whether I'll do it because we only have 1 Saturday left before the exams start. I don't know whether I'll do one during exams, but next Saturday I'm planning to do like just a casual chat with you guys, general advice chat with some of my friends, hopefully if they're available. But yeah, I think special math will probably just go through multiple choice as well because I've had requests for multiple choice in particular. Cube tonics. Oh yeah, do you have any more sessions like these planned? I can, right? Your exams are fairly soon. So it's like, would you watch these if they were, say, like after the English exam, but before the Chinese exam? Like, would you still tune in for these or would you be like busy studying? Ian, I feel like teachers are very, very picky with what social purposes you choose. And that makes or breaks your AC. I don't think so. Like, I think if you find a lot of examples for your social purpose, it's very unlikely to be wrong. Right? If it's logical, most English language teachers pay it. I have my Italian oral tomorrow. Do you have any last minute tips for tonight pre-exam? Oh yeah, thank you for joining in today. Even with your Italian oral tomorrow. Good luck. Can everyone sort of drop a good luck for AS in the chat? I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, good luck to you in your Italian oral tomorrow. Yeah, okay, last minute tips. Go in there confident, all right? You are very prepared. You know basically like 85% of the questions they're going to ask you. Smash out those questions. Once you start talking, you'll realize that, introducing myself. This is stuff I've done 100 times. This is talking about my school. This is stuff I've done 100 times. You'll smash it, right? Some of the harder questions, do your best in the moment. Don't beat yourself up afterwards. In the moment, it will usually be extensions of what you've said. Try and do your best. Use your language capabilities. Sort of think about how you might answer and take a bit of time as well. You don't have to answer straight away. Have a think about it. But just when you go in, right before you go in, I prepare myself for the question. Introduce your family, introduce yourself, right? I sort of just think that to myself because that's usually what they ask first, and sort of makes you feel more confident going in. But yeah, good luck, and thank you for everyone who dropped a good luck for AS. Queenie, I thought that, but I don't know the difference between spoken discourse features, spoken discourse strategies. I'm pretty sure they're the same. Strategies, I guess, is more so topic management and what do you call it? And just topic management, floor turn taking. Whereas discourse is that plus more. Let me just check the study design. That's how our sacks were marked. Ian, do you want to expand? Do you want to give me like some more context? So what was the social purpose and what did you guys say that they marked as wrong? I'll have a look at whether it was unreasonable or not. Also, cube tonics. Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'd be happy to do some then. Any subjects in particular you wanted to see? Also, I have my exams like a week after the exams start, so I might be preparing for my exams then. But the week after, I'd be happy to like go back to streams because my exams are only over 2 days. All right, here. Features of spoken discourse. Yeah, so anything here. Strategies. Yeah, I guess features of spoken discourse. Maybe you can't talk about topic management then. So yeah, this would be the distinction. This is strategies. This is features. Pretty clearly outlined on the study design, which is good. Matthew, no worries at all. I assume you're going. No worries. Thank you for joining. Thank you for contributing. Really appreciate it. I think this is the first stream I've sort of seen you in, but good to see you. And apart from being flexible, my second point was, yeah, for social purpose, think about present something or someone in a certain way. Two main takeaways. Please don't only take away those things from this stream, but those are the main things. For example, on an interview on the project, you could discuss rapport building and positive face stance. Yeah, I guess you can. This was a swag Inglang sesh. No worries, try hard. I tried to interact with you guys a bit. I'm asking you guys a question. But another social purpose could have been cliffhanger. No worries, Nas, no worries. Promoting solidarity. Yeah, so it's probably both, right? Just mention both. They both seem to be like pretty significant ones, so I just talk about both. Yeah, they're both pretty valid. I would mention both in my essay, in my AC. Any specific meta language to look out for context, register, social purpose? I think that's a lot to go through. But context, like if it's about building, sort of semantic fields, proper nouns, certain words, right? Certain conventions reflect context as well. Register, nominalizations, polysyllabic lexemes, agentless passives, jargon, titles for formal, informal collocations, idioms, metaphors, simile, shortenings, initialisms, acronyms. Depends on the context a little bit. You got to be careful with some of those. Social purpose connotations is a big one. What else did we look at? Modal verbs, sometimes, depends. Yeah, social purpose is a bit more variable because social purpose is much more diverse. No worries, Croc Mister. Ian, if I didn't mention the last year, it would have been ducked a lot of marks, for example. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. Like, that seems like a pretty big deal. Because if they're all talking about women and equality, that seems like a pretty big social purpose. And I don't feel like you would miss that. You probably just said to yourself, I want to focus on one. So don't be stuck with, like, build rapport. If build rapport is sort of that fundamental one, but you need to consider if there's more than that. Like, I would mention both. In this exam, there's no really building rapport. I'd say it's more so presenting Australia in a positive light and making them feel welcome. So just make sure you touch on all aspects of the text. Sometimes the first half is building rapport. Second half is, presenting, promoting a cause, right? I feel building rapport is just an underlying thing for a lot of interviews. But what their content is might serve a different social purpose, as it is in this case. Cubetonics. Maybe Chinese. Okay. I should be able to make a Chinese one because it's towards the end. And trip down memory lane for me. How's Chinese going for you? Joseph. Good to see your enthusiasm. Okay, we are 3 subscribers. Oh, whoops. We are 3 subscribers away from 2K, which is pretty incredible. But yeah, that's not the case. Good luck, brother. Helpful review. Go spaghetti on there. All right. I'm not allowed that. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Hopefully he hasn't left yet. But yeah, we are 3 subscribers away. I might stick around for a bit, see if we get it. I'm just gonna use the toilet. I'll be right back. I'm just reading the chat. Yeah, I'm back. I always struggle to bring in cultural context. Look, I didn't really talk about cultural or situational context. I just talked about context in general. Cultural context, I guess, think about it as like Australian or what sort of nationalities are at play here. Um, and what's the culture like? Sort of, is it laid back? Is it that kind of thing? Situational is more like the setting and stuff. Kind of scared for the essays. Yeah, Chinese essays are pretty rough. I'd say like just plan a lot of them. Know what ideas you're gonna have. And I memorized quite a few essays, which I never like. Maybe I could have been more efficient, but I think memorizing was a fine way of doing it. We've got to get him to 2K for when he returns. Thank you, Matthew. I'll check again, but like I need to close the tab, so I can't see a chat when I check. So if I do hit it, please let me know. All right, I'll check again, Matthew. Thank you so much. Say ancora qui. That's sort of like Latin. It's pretty similar. Let's find three magical people. Did you watch the new Scotch formal vid? I watched parts of it. What did you guys think of it? Did any of you watch it? Let me check. Oh, Charlie. Hello. Thank you for subbing at Matthew's request, and thank you, Matthew, for supporting. Let me check what we're on. We're on 2K. We're on 2K. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you guys so much. I just checked. It said 2,000. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah. You might have been my 2000th subscriber, Charlie. Who knows? But yeah, thank you guys so much. Like, it's absolutely amazing. We only hit 1K like a couple months ago, and absolutely amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you, Brendan. Thanks, Try Hard. Yeah. I put a lot of effort into the channel, and numbers aren't the biggest issue, but it's enjoyable to see the progress. Thank you, Cube Tonics. Thanks, Chop Chops. I assume that's something in Italian. Yeah. Oh, I shouldn't be moving the things around, I think, because it messes it up, doesn't it? Oh, no, it's fine. Thank you, Naz. Thank you, Matthew. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much. And a round of applause for you guys too. Thank you. All right. I think I'll end the stream at 8:32, 8:33, if there's not much else to say. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Like, is that, like, yeah, I have no words. It's really incredible. I really appreciate you guys supporting. And of course, good luck for your exams and all that. Keep preparing hard for them. And if you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram. Leave a comment on the YouTube. I reply to comments on the YouTube the quickest, I think. Yeah, we'll say that. Charlie, I'll remember Charlie for a very long time. Oh, okay. In Italian for the person who has their exam. Cool. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you. Cool. So any final questions, pop them in the chat. Otherwise, I think the moment it hits 11:32, I will end the stream. And I can't emphasize enough, really appreciate the support. And that was, yeah, really amazing to see. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Ian. Frank, what did you do from now until the English exam? If you're talking about English or Inglang, I assume you mean English. Yeah, Nas. Okay, it's an unfortunate consequence. It's much easier. I don't know. Instagram, I get a lot of DMs from like students, and it's more tiring. But like, if you email me, it'll probably take even longer. So, DMs or comments is fine. What did you do from now until the English exam? I also have kind of OCD about, not OCD, but I have like, I try and reply to my comments, all of my comments. Okay, English mainstream. What did I do from now to the exam? I actually released a video like yesterday. It's doing really well about what I did in preparation. But essentially, practice essays, I do a couple each week. I did a lot of plans for various topics that teachers gave, past exam topics. And also, I would try and write a couple paragraphs from memory in terms of like things on autonomy. I see if I have all the evidence I want. And I wouldn't like, it doesn't have to be it shouldn't be word for word memorization. It should be like you sort of get your ideas out with the quotes that you have. You remember your evidence, that should be like word for word. But your analysis should sort of just convey what you want to say. It doesn't need to be perfect. Hopefully that helps. But the biggest ones are are timed essays. You need to get your timing on point for English and in Lang. You need to get them on point. Um, no, thanks so much, Joseph, for contributing. No worries. See you later as well. Definitely have a good week and enjoy your last couple of days of school if you have more days of school, or otherwise, you're studying as well. Happy studying. Queenie, I don't know how to study for Englang. So Englang, I didn't study that much right before the exam. I'd say do practice sort of two parts. I reckon for essays, make sure your essay paragraphs are all prepared. Like you've got your set completed, and then do a few practice ones to see how you can adapt a topic. For the other sections, it's just practice. Short answer, make sure you know meta language and practice. AC is basically just practice, and maybe go through your like main ones that you usually find in each one. So I guess for all three of them, practice is that foundation. For short answer, in addition, know all your meta language, learn it. For AC, in addition, sort of find out some techniques that you can rely on. And for essays, in addition, make sure all your paragraphs are completed. If that kind of makes sense to you guys. No worries, Frank. I assume you're leaving, or are you just saying thank you for the comment? But no worries at all. All right, looks like 11:35 then. If I don't get any questions by 11:35, I'll end the stream. Okay, I just got another question. Kira, how conscious are examiners of repeating words? I would say it's not a big issue, right? I'd prefer to be on topic than repeating words. You don't want to repeat words. I'm happy to repeat words for the sake of being on topic, or for things like emphasizing a point, like the register or the function or the social purpose. For other things, the way you start your sentences or words that don't really contribute to what I said before, try not to repeat too much. Repeating words is actually quite good for things like face needs. You can't really come up with a synonym for face needs, so repeat it a lot to make sure you're on topic. Nicholas, a 2K special video. Yeah, I'd be happy to do one. If you have any ideas, please let me know. And thanks for joining, Nick. Queenie, bye-bye. Thank you for joining the stream. All right, we'll push it back to 11:36 or 37. Any questions? Otherwise, I'll end it. And if you guys, just joined, which I'm pretty surprised, thank you for 2K. I'm so incredibly grateful for that. No worries, Naz. Thanks for joining. I think you were here for the whole time, so I appreciate your support. Oh, also, I have a lot of videos lined up. I recorded like a lot the past week because exam prep's really close. So if you saw my recent English one, it really tackles exam prep. That's what I'm doing for my other subjects, all of my subjects as well. And so stay tuned for that, and hopefully it will help you in your prep. Good night, Matthew. Thank you so much for dragging those 8 or 9 or however many people you dragged here. But I really appreciate it. Oh, Nicholas, am I working on any new videos at the moment? I recorded a lot last week, like 5, all focused on exam prep. In addition to that, I'd like to make a Latin video with one of my friends. I haven't contacted him about it yet. That will be in the works. In addition to that, some people have requested some live streams on Further and Spesh. I probably won't be able to do a live stream, but I might be able to get my friends to work through those exams. So like a lot of things going on at the moment, and I'm trying to get that all organized. But definitely those exam prep videos will hopefully help you guys a lot. Like the English one is doing extremely well. That's because it's timely and also it's incredibly relevant. It basically tells you what I did and what I suggest you guys do. But yeah, thanks for asking, Nick. How's school going? Oh, true. I think you mentioned that exam day routine video. Yeah. I might make a one with some of my friends as well. Let me think. Or I just do one by myself. It works as well. Also, thanks for supporting the vids, Nicholas. I see you in a lot of the streams. Alrighty, I will end the stream now then. Thank you guys for your incredible support. Thank you for sticking around. This video will be up, so feel free to revisit it. And any questions you have, feel free to message me as always. I will see you guys next time.